The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making their way to the ring.
Live from the AfterBuzz TV studios, it's Making Their Way to the Ring with Lilian Garcia!
Welcome, everybody. It is another edition of Making Their Way to the Ring. I am Lilian Garcia, so excited to be here with each and every one of you. It's going to be a little bit of a different show. It is post-Royal Rumble. Woo! Yeah, we're excited to get it all kicked off. First of all my social media is right down here, at Lilian Garcia, for Instagram, for Twitter. Facebook, you can find me at Lilian Garcia official fan page, and you can also go to liliangarcia.com for everything about me and the podcast and all that. With me, speaking of the podcast, first, ladies first, we have the managing editor-in-chief correspondent of AfterBuzz TV Pro Wrestling News, Christy Olson.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Lilian. You guys can always hit me up at Christy Reports. I love to hear from you.
And we also have a former TMZ senior producer and host of The Sheet podcast, editor-in-chief of ProWrestlingSheet.com, Ryan Satin.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. It's a nice Monday. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're going to do things a little different. Like I said, we're not going to be necessarily doing an interview today because there's so much to talk about after the Royal Rumble last night.
Woo! It was an awesome show. I loved it.
It was, right?
I personally
Let's get
did.
into this.
I mean, I personally did. I saw mixed reactions from some people on social media and Twitter. There's always going to be complaints. And me personally, it was my favorite Royal Rumble in the past few years.
Wow.
The actual Rumble was great, but some of the other matches on the card last night were fantastic too.
Yeah.
And some of those pre-show matches were the ones that I was looking forward to the most.
So let's talk about the pre-shows. Yes, let's start with the pre-show. We the very first pre-show actually included somebody that we had on last week. So before we even get into the pre-show, I actually want to talk about a little bit about Mickie James. I mean, what an interview she gave last week. What she revealed.
When we were talking beforehand, you had kind of said like she's going to get into some deep stuff, I think. And man, I did not expect it to go there. I mean,
right?
I'm on the show. I'm with you, and I was listening to the whole thing, just riveted by everything she had to say. I mean, to hear her struggle and the stuff that she had to deal with, and how open she is about it now was really, really good to hear, especially because I know what you like to do with this show and talk about real things that happen to real people, and that's definitely one of them.
And in addition to that, I'm always also looking for the juicy news tidbits. So this was a well-rounded interview, though, where we really got to know her and just I fell in love with her through that interview. But I also got answers to the questions that I wanted to know.
Yeah,
thank you for that, Lily.
Yeah, sure. That is the biggest response I got. I mean, it really got picked up everywhere, and all the tweets and messages that I got, everyone was just like, wow. I mean, I was in love with Mickie before, but now I love her even more. And that's what I told her too. I was like, I appreciate everything that you did and you said on the show, how open you got. And I said, do you realize, and I actually forwarded her some of the messages that I got from fans. There were some other fans that went through what she went through. Wow. Okay, and I don't necessarily want to talk about that part. If you guys, you can always go to AfterBuzz TV. You can go to liliangarcia.com. You can go to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV to find that episode with Mickie James. I think that everybody should watch it.
I agree.
It's something that you will, if you feel like you're going through something really, really hard, it's always good to be able to listen to somebody else that maybe has struggled, and that way you don't feel alone, and you also learn how to deal with it and move on, right?
How to triumph over tragedy.
I actually forwarded her to her some of the responses that I got of, like I said, of other women going, you know what, this happened to me, and I thought that I could never talk about it, or I felt like ashamed and I shouldn't talk about it, and now you've given me the freedom to feel free and to like lift that weight off my shoulders and empower other people right through my story. And I sent that to Mickie, and I just like, do you realize like really how inspirational and how you can change, we said, if we helped one person, right, with the show.
Yep.
So it was just incredible. Also addressed the whole thing with, and I thought it was important, and she felt it was important to address the whole thing with her and how she dated Kenny and how she was with Cena and how she's able to come back and work, with Cena's on the same show, and then, work with Nikki and all, and just kind of squash all that other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that was one of the things that I was very much wondering when I saw that she was coming back and that it was going to be a SmackDown brand. I remember thinking to myself, like, that might get a little awkward. Kenny's been on SmackDown recently. John Cena's, after last night, the champion there. You'd think she'd maybe want to go to the Raw brand. And I gotta respect her that she's like, look, we're adults now.
Exactly.
We've grown up,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a husband, I have a kid, I'm very much in love with my husband, and we're all grown ups now. We can all be adults around each other, and I thought that was really cool to hear because, I obviously have ex-girlfriends, and you don't always have that kind of relationship with an ex to where you can feel comfortable working around them all the time. Like, I don't know, I mean, do you have an ex that you can work around like all the time?
I've been with my husband for 12 years.
Before that, though,
And I am not nearly as old as
Yeah.
that makes me sound. But what I
Wait a minute, I've been with
appreciated-
my husband for 12 years. We've been married for 12 years, but we've been together for 12 years, so yeah.
But what stuck out to me about that was that is essentially her putting it to bed. Everyone would be
Exactly.
talking about it. Everyone would be wondering about it. She answered the question, and now it's not a question
Done.
anymore.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
So it's so funny though how you said you love news, right? You're like, oh, it's so juicy, whatever. And sure enough, out of the whole interview, that's the biggest thing that got picked up. Fox Sports talked about it, and all of these other places. But again, everybody looks at the juicy stuff, right?
I
But
knew that was gonna be the one.
love the fact that it did get picked up, and look. Nobody can say anything negative about it. She addressed it. It is done. It is good. Move on. I would love to see a feud with her and Nikki Bella.
I was actually just going to say that.
I would love it because I think the two of them would work so good together.
Do you think, though, and I know that she said she's an adult about everything, she's moved on, do you think that they're going to go that route with things, though? I mean, that would be,
you never know.
That's like really poking it in there. I mean, that's like
Vince
digging an old
loves to-
wound.
Vince loves to do that, though, isn't that
Loves
right?
to do that. And you know what? I also have seen that the superstars can say, you know what? Let's do that. Let's make a story out of this because we have moved on. But hey, let's if not, let's make a story out of this.
Give
Who
the people
knows?
what they want.
Hey, right? Who knows? Maybe they'll go there. Maybe they're not. But I just know that I feel like they can all work together and not make this an issue anymore. Definitely.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Congratulate, and I congratulate her for being able to want to go there, and talk about it and clear the air. And I thought that's the best thing to do.
And
Best
while we're
thing to
talking
do.
about like last week's episode,
Yes.
is everything okay with your husband now?
Oh, speaking of that, so we talked about it. If you guys didn't tune in last week, my husband was in the hospital for 6 days and quarantined, and it was just so freaking dramatic. And then found out he had meningitis and encephalitis. And one is the inflammation. It's a virus that hits. It hits your brain and it inflames the brain, causing so much pain apparently, and could really. It's I didn't even know this. So in 2013, which is kind of like the last time they recorded. I think they record every few years or something. 303,000 people died from meningitis. Wow. 303,000 people died from meningitis. And same thing, 2013, 77,000 died from encephalitis. And he had both.
Oh my gosh.
So the fact that the great news is that, and the fortunate thing, and this is one thing that we need to feel very grateful for, living here in the U.S., living where, modern medicine is at, whether it's Europe or whatever, where modern medicine is at, you have treatments, right?
Yeah.
So the less people it hits people and are less fatal, in other words. I mean, it hits them, but I'm saying less fatal. And there still have been people that have died here in the U.S., but because of medicine, he's able to get cured. And now he's working from home this week. He's home finally, but he's going to be working from home this week, and he still every few hours has to have an antibiotic, but through an IV.
Mm-hmm.
They literally put a pick into his arm. It's crazy. And I have been Nurse Garcia. Every
Well, that
few
must be a
hours.
role you're getting down pretty well now.
Yeah, you've got too
Man,
much experience with
I
that.
got it. You guys don't understand. Like, it's got to be like a certain amount of hours and stuff. So I'm like, like waking at 1 a.m., waking up, and then you have to wake up another hour and a half afterwards to take it out, and just waking up every few hours.
And you're like half asleep, having to put an IV in.
That's the main thing. I've been like going, oh my God, I gotta do this and that, and then exactly. Snap out of it. You can't mess up. You can't mess up.
And I'm guessing you can't do that in the dark either.
No, there's a really soft light that we put in, so it's not so, right? But he's been a trooper, and he'll get through it. But I just realized, I was like, God, literally, how grateful are you that you're not in Africa right now or somewhere like that? That this treatment, my mother had this years ago, and she was actually hospitalized for 25 days. Wow. Why? Because at that time, when she had it, when she was in college, they didn't have the home IV. And the antibiotic has to be so strong that it has to be given through an IV. It can't be a pill. So they didn't have that, so that's why they were in the hospital. His friend actually told him, actually I was hospitalized for like a month, and that wasn't even that long ago.
Wow.
Right? So this is whole new thing that you can now do the IV at home, but they'll only allow that if you're at a certain place of recovery, doing well enough.
So how long will he have to take the antibiotics
So now
for?
he will go until the middle of next week.
And will it hopefully be gone at that point?
Because they said that if they don't do this, it can come back.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he's starting to feel better and all that, this is like a super bug.
Yeah.
This is a super duper.
Gnarly,
Like, can he get up and walk around now that he's at home?
And I've been taking him, the doctor said, we want him outside a little bit, like get
some sun.
Get him sun, get him a little walking around. And so I took him, like he had a checkup on Friday, so I took him to our doctor on Friday, and which was in Santa Monica, and we walked around a little bit, and then he was like, gotta go. So yeah, it
like wipes him out, basically.
And the next day he was wiped out. I'm like, wow, this is just insane. So anyway, thank you for all the well wishes that you guys have been showing my husband, and we'll see.
Yeah, well,
how
it's
he
great
does.
to hear that he's doing better at things.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Crazy. So and the word is, if you guys have an extreme headache, not doing well, go to the ER immediately, because he could have died from not going there. So. Okay, so Rumble, let's go back. So we got the pre-show. We were speaking about how Mickey was in the pre-show.
She was in a match against Miss Nikki
Hey, don't
Bella.
forget, guys, before we get into this, you can catch us on iTunes. Make sure that you subscribe. That's the most important thing with iTunes. And then you can also catch us on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. What's cool is that you can join the chat.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that fun?
Very
like
cool.
Afterwards, you can also even see all the people. Like, they're carrying on a whole
Talk
conversation.
to your fellow super fans.
Right?
I was watching the Mickey James one live, and it was fun reading all the as everyone was reacting to everything. And also, if they're on iTunes, they should leave a review as well. That also helps a lot too.
Isn't that like the 5-star reviews? That
Well, no, like when you actually type in a full review, like saying like, I like Lilian and Ryan and Christy.
Yeah, a good review. Good review. Bad reviews, you
bad
can
reviews, leave
just think
Twitter
about
or something.
it. Don't write it.
5 stars. 5 stars.
You know, with the Mickey thing in that match, I was the most surprised that Naomi pinned Alexa Bliss. I mean, that to me was a big deal because I mean,
not at all.
really?
Why is that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I love Naomi. I love Naomi.
Naomi returned to SmackDown this last week after being out for a few months with an injury, and she immediately entered herself into the title picture against Alexa. And they kind of went back and forth, had a great little promo where Alexa was like, I don't care about you. But it was definitely a moment where we knew going into this match that Naomi did kind of have to make a stand for herself against Alexa, and she did just that.
Less because of storylines of why I was thinking that, and more because of the fact that, to me, it's felt like they've never really gotten behind Naomi. As much as I love Naomi, she doesn't really get as much of a push as I would like. I'm a huge fan of hers because of Total Divas and because of her wrestling and stuff. So I've been surprised that she's been a main fixture of Total Divas for so long that they've never really given her a push like some of the other girls. So I'm happy to see that finally happening. I'm stoked.
Right, and while she was out, actually, there were a lot of fans that were tweeting at her and reaching out to her saying, we miss you, and she was retweeting a lot of that. Making sure that everyone saw that she was missed. And, you know, she finally got some gear. In the last year, she had her Feel the Glow t-shirt come out. It sold immensely. A ton of people went out and got it. You see people in the crowd wearing it all the time. And I think the WWE brass has maybe kind of finally gone, oh, hey.
Hello.
Oh, hey, that Naomi.
Can
people
I
are
just
waiting
say,
for her.
I mean, she is so good in the ring, but she also has gigantic heart. Love working with her. And just backstage, she has this aura about her. She's just full of life. And then when she's not necessarily given the push too, you could see that it matters to her. It really does. It bothers her, and she's like, "Oh, Lil, I want that chance."
But that's a good thing. That means that
Fire.
that's fire.
Fire,
That means that she's going to
passion.
be around for a long time, in my
Yes.
opinion, because she has that passion.
For sure.
Is it curvy fire in Naomi's case?
But I saw all that stuff. She would bring all that stuff backstage about the glow things, and then she would turn off the lights literally in the dressing room to show us all the things. Like it glowed in the dark. It was so cool. We're like, oh my God, when can you use this?
Because she spends a lot of time kind of getting it down,
She
right?
does, between the shoes and the this and that and like everything. So it's
Hair
just,
glows.
Yes.
And she's like glow in the dark Finn Balor, where it's like she's got the whole thing. It's great. I love it. I love her
Yeah.
entrance. Is one of my favorites.
Yeah. What else did you think about the entire match?
The ladies of SmackDown have been given such great stories, I think, and they're kind of running more than one feud at the same time, which is different from the Raw girls.
Right.
So we knew that this was going to be a really dynamic match. There was this really cool chain of suplexes at one point where you weren't sure which team was actually going to go over, and it ended up being our heel ladies, Natty and Mickey and Alexa, that went over. But it was just fun.
Yes.
It was a fun match. It was a great way to kick off the kickoff show.
Yeah, right. I agree with that.
And Becky Lynch is probably my favorite women's wrestler right now. Like, I think she's such like
You and all the other guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's so awesome.
and she's just such a good baby face. Like she's someone that's good at getting people behind her. Like when she's getting beaten up, you feel bad for her. When she's fighting back, you're cheering for her. I love Becky Lynch, so I was glad to see all of them get their own moment, even though it wasn't on the main show. Pre-show's still cool.
It's okay. Yeah, they're really building the pre-show, which actually led us to the tag team championship. And we talked about how the Royal Rumble was about 20 minutes short. How they could have had that match for sure on the Rumble, but I don't know that they realized that, right? Like
Or that it even matters.
Well, no, I'm not saying
To
it
them?
matters, but I'm just saying I know that some people really want to get every minute out of the Rumble.
Well, not
but
only
sometimes
that-
they don't know it's going to be 20 minutes short.
Well, not only that, but in my opinion at least, considering the show was 4 hours as it was, a lot of people don't have time to watch a 6-hour show, so they maybe skipped the 2-hour pre-show thinking that it's going to be some of the minor matches,
Right.
and you have a tag team title change like that because I know you didn't
can't
say it.
believe they lost, though. I gotta tell you, I like Sheamus and Cesaro as a team. I really did, and you guys are not agreeing.
Did she have the same look as
Oh
I
my
did?
God, your looks! If you guys did you guys catch that? If you're watching the show, oh my God, they were both like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well,
It's the pairing of the two.
Yeah,
right?
I like them both separately. I just feel like Cesaro doesn't necessarily need Sheamus, and vice versa. Like I feel like they could be doing their own thing. I'm stoked that Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows finally won the tag titles because, in my opinion, since they've come to Raw. Not since they come to Raw, since AJ went to SmackDown and they got split up from the whole club.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they didn't know what to do with them as much. Like it wasn't like AJ Styles' Bullet Club anymore. It was just kind of like those two guys who were in Japan. And I'm hoping that by winning the tag titles, they'll get like a little bit of a restart on their WWE tag team career here.
Right, and I think what you were going to say was that by having this title change on the pre-show, maybe they're kind of giving the signal to people like, hey, you got to sit down and watch
Tune
this
in,
pre-show.
tune in.
And it's not like the pre-show is on the network and the main show is on USA anymore. It's all on the network. So you're sitting down, you're tuning in when you tune in, and I think it'll maybe just become natural for people to just start watching the pre-show right along.
Well, actually, what I was going to say, since I didn't finish that thought, was more actually the opposite of that, where I feel like if you're gonna make the main show 4 hours, then maybe like put the most important things on the 4 hours. Like ending 20 minutes early, most people didn't watch it, so they were ready to watch until 8 o'clock, like from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and maybe not the 2 hours before that.
You're talking Pacific time.
Yeah, sorry. I know East Coast people hate me. They're like, yeah, I was watching way later, dude.
Yeah,
like, calm
way
down.
later, I know.
And
We're
then people in the
still
UK are like really mad at me. Like I was watching at 2 a.m. Okay.
We get done and we're still like able to go
sorry
out
if
to
you're
eat,
tired.
have a life, right?
Do an after show, no big deal.
But it does bother me sometimes, like that a big change like that didn't happen on the main show, and I didn't even see much of a recap. That I don't know if I maybe missed it, but I didn't see a recap either on the main show saying that they
show,
won.
no.
That's a good point.
It wasn't. And I think it's because they were actually saving it to discuss it when you saw Cesaro and when you saw Sheamus joining the Rumble.
Makes
That's
sense.
what it was. They were, because now I heard, all the announcers talking about, hey, well, what happened at the pre-show?
That's a good point. point.
So
Yeah.
they are definitely
And we can
building the
assume
pre-show.
that there's probably a rematch tonight on Raw, right? They it usually goes there.
I would think
soon,
so.
maybe
but
they'll
I
get
don't
some
know
kind of
because of what happened at the
ceremony or
room. No, because
they'll get some kind of recognition tonight on Raw.
Well, that I agree. I don't think there's going to be a necessarily a match between them, like a rematch, because of what happened during the Rumble with Cesaro and with Sheamus, which we're going to get to.
I agree. I think that
They're done.
Yeah, I think they're going to be done at
done.
this
Don't you
point.
think
That was it.
another a rematch would give them the opportunity to really go there,
just finally-
to like really come to blows in the ring
That
when
makes
they're,
sense.
when they're supposed to be
Their
fighting
final
together?
rematch. They're like they like they could build more tension, one final match, and then finally split ways. Because it does feel like maybe
Well, they turn on each other again, like they come together just for the rematch again, and then turn on each
and
other
still
again.
can't done.
They could.
And
They
then maybe
could. I
like
don't
lead to a
know.
WrestleMania match between them since they put all this time and effort into them.
A kickoff WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh God! Look at you. Well, I think that's the thing that they're trying to do is to also send a message to the superstars saying, look, just because you're on the kickoff show doesn't mean that it's like secondary. It's like we're really making one huge show and making everything special from top to finish.
Very true. Very true.
So that led us to Sasha Banks and Nia Jax.
A lot of people
Whoa.
upset about this one.
Yeah, that would not actually surprise me. Sasha, just 1, 2, 3, pretty much.
It's being called a squash by the. By
Well,
the
that's
WWE
just a way that I
universe.
feel like they are really. That shows you they're really pushing Nia.
That's what I was gonna say is that, as much as it's surprising to see that they would do that to Sasha Banks in such a quick fashion, it's kind of cool for Nia Jax that they have that much faith in what they're gonna be doing with
Yeah.
her, because I know that there's rumors of a four-way at WrestleMania between Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Bayley. So it would kind of make sense for those two feuds to keep going strong
Right.
until WrestleMania. So I didn't hate it, but I was very surprised by
Right,
it.
I think you surprised
It's
everybody.
kind of. I was kind of like, well, what did people think was going to happen? I mean, we're going believability here,
Right.
and we want to be told a story that's believable.
Yes.
Sasha Banks is about a quarter the size of Nia Jax,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily believable that she can win a match against Nia. I don't know that it's believable for hardly any of the women on WWE Raw or on SmackDown to beat Nia Jax in a match. So I wasn't really shocked by this, and I'm kind of wondering what can be done with Nia Jax moving forward to continue to build her without burying others.
Well, I think it's going to be one of those quick things where it's like the David and Goliath kind of, right? Where whoever does beat her, it's got to be outsmarter and seize an opportunity where it's not going to be size versus size. But it does make it where it continues the story. Had Sasha just gone over, well.
And if she's the dominant one in the entire women's division leading up to WrestleMania, if that match does end up happening at WrestleMania, it kind of is nice because then it's like each one of those groups, because like you said, if none of them can do it on their own, well, if all three of them are in a match together, it kind of like gives it more of a possibility that someone can finally defeat Nia Jax because there's four of them in the match. And I kind of like that going into it.
What about the idea? I kind of came up with this last night. There's this reportedly this women's tournament that's coming up around summertime. Triple
Right.
H has more or less confirmed it. What if they took some of the ladies that we're going to see in that tournament and started using them once a week against Nia? Kind of like a local talent type, but bringing those ladies in so that the WWE TV viewers get a chance to see them and hear their names and see them on screen before the women's tournament.
My only thing with that is if they're losing,
Yeah, I
if
was
they're
just
all
gonna
losing,
say, if
then
they're
what's the
just
point of
getting
watching them in a
squashed,
tournament? Yeah.
that just right there kills their credibility, kills all of that.
Good point. Bad idea. I'm just dying to see those girls in this women's tournament that's supposed to be coming.
That's going to be great. And now we're going to actually move on to the Royal Rumble. So you finish the pre-show with a women's match, and then you start the Royal Rumble with a women's match.
Well, technically we finished the pre-show.
Oh, no,
with,
you're right. You're
with
right.
HBK telling
Yes.
everyone to what.
Yeah, you're right. They had that little moment.
2 words. He had 2 words for them. Did you know what they were going to be, Lilian? Did you have a
No.
good guess?
Yeah. Well, let's go to then, like I said, to the Royal Rumble. Though we did start with Bayley. Like that was exciting, right? When her music hit and the fans 52,000, by the way, and 20 fans.
A lot of people.
That was a lot of people.
I love they had to include those 20 fans.
I know,
It
I
makes
do
it so
too.
hard to say. You couldn't have just said 52,000 WWE, like, of course, and 20.
Because if you're there, you're going, literally that number would be different right now if I wasn't here. Like, it gives you importance.
Because I even heard that on commentary at one point, they said, like, 52,020, and then, like, the other commentator was like, did you say that wrong? Did you say 52,020? And then, like, they had a whole argument how hard it was to say that number.
2020. I know. I don't know why, but yeah, that was really cool to see that many fans on the road. And that was like a mini WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It really was. And that was like, wow, man, the Rumble just got that. I mean, I think next year is going to be, they already announced it's going to be in Philly. And I was like, oh, shucks. I mean, it's cool that it's in Philly, but it would be cool to continue this and doing domes.
Well, that's actually so you liked the dome setting for this because
I do.
I saw mixed. Obviously, it's wrestling. There's mixed reactions to it.
Why?
You know, I think I know my co-host on my show we were talking about last night, and he personally felt like that WrestleMania when it's in a dome and it gives a bigger feeling to it. And it's like,
WrestleMania is a stadium.
or stadium. Well, they're in domes sometimes too, right? Are they in both?
But aren't they all called stadium versus domes? Like domes aren't as big as stadiums. Is that correct?
This is getting really deep. I never
I'm
thought about this
not a huge
before.
sports guy, so I'm not going to go out on a limb on either of those.
This one was 52,000, right? Sold out.
Yes.
And then stadium is like 80, 90, 100. So I believe that a stadium is bigger than a dome.
Okay, I'm not going to argue on this
But
one.
I know
but
that-
it had this really.
We'll
But
see.
the
Maybe
long,
Mark can research that and get back to us.
Get us
from
in our
this guy.
ear.
So it goes arena, dome, stadium.
But I
so.
think so. That sounds right.
Right?
That sounds right.
Sounds logical. Let's just go with that.
But with the large setting, he felt like the WrestleMania is the one that has the large setting, and it kind of takes away from the excitement of WrestleMania being in this huge place. If Royal Rumble and other pay-per-views are also in this big place, and the ramp was so long, like it took them 5 hours to get
65
out.
yards.
I know, and that right there, when we get to the Rumble, I was at one point, my husband and I, we were watching, we were like, wow, that was a quick 2 minutes. You know, right? Because all of a sudden you're like 5, 4, 3. It's been 2 minutes since they've been in the, what the heck? And then I realized, wait a minute, it takes a whole minute to get down to
And isn't it normally a minute and a half for the Royal Rumble? I think
No, it's 2 minutes.
Is it always 2 minutes?
2 minutes. I remember that.
There was a 40-man
Or 90,
Rumble a
yeah.
while ago, and I think maybe
Oh.
they cut it to 90 seconds for that one.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but
timing
usually
purposes.
it's 2 minutes.
I know we're not at the Rumble yet, but speaking on that
right.
moment though, or what you were just talking about, I did think it was real smart of them to not have Undertaker walk down the whole aisle when
Yeah.
he came
None
out.
of the. Hi, everybody.
There he is.
Hey, there you are.
So
Mark,
I looked
it's in
into the
booth.
arena dome thing,
Yes.
and so far I have found no necessary correlation between capacity and whether it's named an arena, a dome, or a stadium. Stadiums tend to have more just because they're outdoors and it's for football, whereas domes are more basketball, hockey, which is just a smaller crowd in general.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it does
Now we know.
coincide with
Thank
it.
you,
Close enough, yeah.
And in
Domes are
terms of
smaller.
the
Yeah.
larger superstars, not just The Undertaker, but Braun Strowman, Big E Langston, all of the larger superstars got carted down to the ring. That's why there were those weird cuts to just hard
what
cam.
was the deal with Big E?
I saw
didn't
a bunch of
understand that.
I saw a bunch of tweets. There's pictures that you can see, and it's all of them like being rushed down on one of those carts, like WrestleMania 3 status.
Literally carded.
Yeah,
But
literally.
why was Big E carded?
He's a big guy.
Seriously, I that was just kind of weird. Like when
Well,
that got
it's weird
cut.
that you've never seen that happen before.
Not that I've never
Well,
seen
because they don't
him
normally
get
have
carded.
they don't normally have those long entrances
no,
like
but
that.
I never even. He's a big guy, but he's super fit.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could have totally run.
And also,
I don't
he's
know.
not like the guys who they did take are much more slow walkers, like to the ring. He's someone who could rush to the ring. He runs to the ring all the
Totally.
time.
Unless, is there an injury we don't know about? I'm
Not
just
that
wondering.
I've heard of.
You know,
There hasn't
ankle,
been any speculation
whatever.
to that. You know, maybe they just gave him the option. They're like, we're carting the other big guys. He was like, yes. Doesn't he seem like he'd be like, yeah, that sounds like fun.
yeah, there's
I would
the
take a
pictures.
ride.
Hitchhiking. Is there a picture that
Yeah,
Mark
you can
is
like
bringing
see,
up
yeah,
right now?
you can see like they're on those cards.
Oh, okay. Well, but it makes sense for Braun Strowman for a big show for an Undertaker, but for Big E,
Well,
it just doesn't make sense to me.
did the appear in the ring thing like he
Yeah.
wasn't, which I loved.
Right.
I thought that was great. But how long would he have to be under that ring to do that?
Oh, that fascinates me so much.
Because he was number
to be under the
29 or
ring.
whatever. Me
Yeah,
too.
that means
How
that means
long
the
was-
entire time.
Was he really in there the entire time?
Yeah, there's no way to get underneath that ring if you're not, like.
I've always wondered that, like, if they bring out like a table with like a tablecloth, and they're just like, oh, just bringing catering to the announce table.
I know the secret, but like a magician, I cannot reveal it.
Is there? So there's even more of a secret than just they had to hide under there for like an hour?
There is more of a secret, guys. But if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
That's a pretty juicy
if I
secret. I
told
might be
you,
okay with
I think WWE would kill me.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, there's some things that, like a magician, I don't think everything should get revealed. I think it's fun to be that fan going,
Yeah.
I wonder how they did this.
I love having those things. I've been watching wrestling my whole life, and there are still certain things
So
that.
seriously, you don't know. You don't know.
I mean, there are things that I assume, but not definitively. And there are things I like to not know.
I
like,
love that. Me too. As it's the same thing with the endings. People would like referees or the staff, or the producers, all that. They were like, "So, Lil, do you want to know the ending to this or whatever?" And I'm like, "No, I want to watch it like a fan
and be able to react when you announce the winner."
Yes, and that's so you hear it every authentic announcement that I would make. I mean, it would be authentic because I'm like, whether it's boo, I'm bummed, I didn't like this, here's your winner, or here's your winner.
Even like
being a fan.
the actual wrestling itself, like I tried so long to not figure out how they do every move because it's like kind of like trying to figure out how a magician does his trick. Like, it wasn't until I started going to PWG and I was sitting like this close to the ring to where I could figure out how most of the things are done to where they don't maybe necessarily get super hurt when they do it. But no, I don't. Like there's certain things I'm okay with not knowing. Like how Undertaker appears under the ring. I'm cool. That's one of them. I'm cool with it.
What are you doing to get in the front row at a PWG show?
Dude, I am so good at refreshing. It would blow your mind. Like, and this show, the one I just bought tickets on Thursday for the next show coming up. And normally, like everyone says the same thing, like how do you get tickets there? And I was refreshing, and the ticket link came up 1 minute before they went on sale. And I was like, oh my god! Like I was like, oh my god! I was like doing it really fast. I thought I was getting like thought I was getting punked or something like that. But now I'm just really good at refreshing. I don't know.
You just
when
let
Ryan
out the secret.
Satin goes to actually book the tickets instead of going on the news and being like, guys, the link is up a minute early.
Yeah,
you know he really wants to be in the front row of that show.
I did it, and then I tweeted afterwards like, hey suckers, that was up a minute early. Should have been refreshing.
Now they're all got your secret,
I know.
though.
Now
You're
the next
done.
10 shows, I'm not going to get tickets
It's
because I just jinxed myself.
Everyone's going to be doing it. Yeah, for sure. They'll be like going up to you.
Sucker who's not at PWG now.
Oh my God. So we're being all over the place and we haven't even gone to the beginning of the Rumble.
Sorry.
So speaking of Bayley, where we were, yes, where the 52,000 people popped when she came out and Charlotte, and I loved their match. I really did. Great match. I love the girls have just I don't know. They really are telling such a great story, right? And just it's I even though at first when I'm not gonna lie, when you see a Bayley versus a Sasha, maybe not Charlotte, maybe because I've been so used to seeing Charlotte and Sasha, and their chemistry is so good, and then Bayley is just so different. Right? She's just so different.
Much different.
That when you see Bayley, which is like fun, la 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 kind of deal, and then you see Charlotte, which is such a serious and competitor and all, it's like at first you're like, does this even work? Mm-hmm. But yeah, watching their work in the ring, it works.
Yep.
Yeah, and it really seemed like Charlotte was trying to highlight Bayley in this matchup or really give her a chance to, not that she needs to get over with the crowd, but I mean, she was really waiting until the last nanosecond to kick out when she did, and just really, I think, made them both look strong, and that is what makes a great superstar, right?
You said that you don't think Bayley necessarily needs it right now, but I kind of disagree. I felt like she really did need this match, and I feel like her run on Raw has not been as spectacular as it was in NXT, and I felt like this was the first time where it kind of put her on the same level as Charlotte, where it was like, oh, she can wrestle with these girls,
compete.
Like she is on the same level as all these women. Like there's a reason she was part of the the Divas Women's Revolution in NXT. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, Women's Revolution. But yeah, so but there's a reason. I felt like this really stamped. I was like, why you should care about Bayley.
Mm-hmm. The elbow off the top rope was awesome, right? I mean, that is
Macho Woman.
And
Macho
left
Woman.
Charlotte bleeding profusely from the mouth, if I might add.
It's so good that but those moments are like the girls don't care. They're like, oh, this is awesome when we get to bleed too. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it more authentic. It is.
She was reveling in it for sure. Charlotte was.
Oh yeah, for sure. Watch that blood all over me.
And Charlotte really has become super intimidating now.
Yes.
She is buff, man. Like she posted
Totally
pictures
buff.
on Instagram this weekend where she was just like so. I was like, man, she could kick my ass, dude. Like
You
she's
know,
buff.
What's so special is watching her years ago, a young woman, or I should say, young child,
Yeah.
really. I saw her ringside so many times cheering on her father, Rick, that I never knew that she wanted to go down this route. And she never knew
right.
she wanted to go down this route, right? So I think back to her now, watching her dad in the ring, and it's not like she was like, one day, but the fact that it just clicked and she's done this well, but I know that she puts pressure on top of herself to do even better because of her father.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So it's even more stressful.
And I'm sure because of her brother too, like
And her
passing away.
brother
I mean, I
passed
know
away,
that she
she's
very
got
much
that.
wanted to take on
Yes.
what he was doing when it happened. So I mean, it's so cool to see how successful she's become when that was one of the reasons.
Yeah, and one of those things is that I just hope that she will allow herself to enjoy these moments and not criticize her performance where it has to be, in her mind, perfect, right? Because for us, last night, for example, she gave a great show. She's 16-0 now in pay-per-views. That is amazing.
Remarkable.
The queen of
Yeah.
pay-per-views, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she just really, you can see how much her passion, her drive for this business, she really wants to put it out there. But I really hope that she will allow herself to enjoy this moment, to enjoy this ride that she has, and know, and it just goes with the territory. I think everybody does put a lot on themselves, but when you are the daughter of someone in the past, it's even like, I mean, you can go to Elvis Presley and
Lisa Marie?
Yeah, Lisa Marie, and all the pressure with her as being Elvis Presley's daughter, and a thing, and now Paris Jackson, and there's pressure. I mean, there's just pressure when you come from such an icon of your father to what are you going to do? And I think Charlotte has definitely stepped into that role and just done a spectacular job. To me, there's nothing more that she could do to prove herself.
Yep, my co-host was telling me he was listening to the Jericho podcast this week with Dick Ebersol's son Charlie, who is the director of the XFL documentary that's
Yes.
coming out,
yeah.
and he was saying something similar where it was like, I'm gonna say the phrase wrong, but it was something like, I got started at third base, like I know I got started at third base, but but you can't act like you hit a triple. You have to know that you started on third base, and you can't act like you deserve it, like you earned it. Like you have to know that and be humble the whole time, and move forward with that and take what you're given and be humble with it and be able to further that. And I feel like that's exactly what Charlotte's done.
Oh, she is so humble. You guys don't realize, like I said, like she'll finish a match and she's great with the other girls, congratulate, like total team.
Yeah.
And then she's the one that puts most pressure on herself versus her opponent. She definitely all the time, she wants to be at a 10. So what were you going to say?
What do you tell her about you saying you hope that she takes time to really enjoy that and to acknowledge her own success? When you're on the road so much like that, how is it possible to do that? Like, what would your advice be to her? And I think you have given her that advice.
I have. Right? I've talked to her backstage because I've seen how much pressure she does put on herself, to be so good. And then the nerves, that come before a match because she wants to do such a great job that she's already, oh my God, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. So she's building. So I just tell her, you got to breathe. First of all, you got to just stop and breathe. You got to realize that you are here for a reason. Nobody's just given this to you. Like, you have earned it every step of the way. And now have fun. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's great that this is your passion. It's great, but you can't make things so big in your mind that they are bigger than life, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, because she's not going to be on top the rest of her life. She's not. This is a very short-lived career in a way. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even when people last, 10 years of Cena, they're always like, 10 years, 15 years, what? Oh my God. That's a small little,
very small.
In the whole gamut of the lifestyle, that's a little hiccup, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to enjoy that moment, and you got to have fun and really celebrate. Like I always talk about, celebrate those steps, celebrate what you've done right, and then if there's something that didn't go as planned, Okay, so how can you work on that, but don't beat yourself up for it?
No, I mean, you actually gave me the same advice off the air a few weeks ago when we were talking, and I've been trying to take it to heart of just, like, not being so caught up in everything. And it's helped me immensely. Like, and so I love that you give that advice to people, because it really is important. You know, I mean, it's not related to wrestling, but I was watching the New Edition movie that came out last week. And, you know, it's with celebrity, but it's kind of a similar thing with celebrity. And it's like, you know, if you don't take that short amount of time that you have in the limelight and do the right things with it and enjoy certain moments and care about the people around you and realize that you're going to have these people around you for a long time, and you have to take it not take it for granted. You know, you have to, like, revel in the moment and stuff. And so, and the New Edition guys, a lot of them didn't do that, and they had hardships afterwards and stuff. And I think, you know, it applies to wrestling too. Like you said, you only have this short amount of time. You got to enjoy it.
That happens to people and football players. That happens, you know, it just, there is some of these careers that are that. They're
reality
just
stars.
They're short-lived.
Yep.
I'm sure that even, think about when Jersey Shore was so big. Those guys probably never thought that they would ever not have where they were in the spotlight 24/7, and now they're not in the spotlight 24/7.
They were getting paid like millions of dollars for that show. Like, they were making bank, and you don't even know where the situation is right now, or like Ronnie or any of those guys. Like yeah, you just don't, like, they've all fallen off. So, like, even Snooki, like, she's on what's it called, the Celebrity Apprentice, and it's not the same Snooki. It's like different. You can tell she needed to do this because she's got a kid now and stuff. And it's, you gotta take those, you gotta take those moments and have fun with them.
And I think the biggest thing to keep in mind too, what I would tell those people is that there are millions and millions and millions of people out there who want nothing more than to have those moments.
Yep.
No matter how they go or what work they had to put in to get them. And there's a lot of people that will never get to experience that, even though that's what they want more than anything in the world.
Yeah.
And I think maybe keeping that in mind can help you keep it in perspective too.
Yeah. So, wow. All right. So we went from that to the
We're getting
WWE.
raw, real, and inspiring with the Royal Rumble.
Woo! I like that.
it.
I like that. Raw, real, and inspiring. Yes. Okay. So we went on from there to WWE Universal Championship with Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns and Jericho lurking in his Shark Tank.
Mick Foley made him sit up there.
Yeah, Mick Foley made him sit up here. Well, you know, and Jericho, my God, he's just such a great heel.
So
he really
entertaining.
is. He's so entertaining. I mean, to this point, I mean, he's been in the WWE now for so many years, and he's still so charismatic and you know, doing so well with his podcast, right? And just, he did so well with his band. There's just nothing that Jericho doesn't accomplish.
And this run specifically, I mean, his whole thing the past few years has been like coming in for a few months, doing the thing, leaving. He's been back for a year now.
Yeah.
Like, and he's been, honestly, like, this has been my favorite Jericho run in a while. Like, it's been so entertaining, and like, he's just spouting off like lines all the time that are becoming like trademark things, like the sexy pinata and stupid idiot and you made the list.
Well,
and
yeah, like you said, he's having fun with it.
Yes,
and that's why
there you
he
go.
doesn't need to do anything. I'm assuming that he's financially
done.
good for the rest of his life, but he wants to come back, and he says he keeps signing these kind of like couple month deals just because then it comes up again. He's like, oh, okay, I'll keep doing it because he seems to be having fun with it.
That's the whole key of it. Yeah.
And I assumed initially that he was staying on that whole time for his podcast, because obviously it gives him access to all the rest of it. He can do as many podcast interviews as he wants.
Yeah.
But it truly seems like he's just enjoying himself now and isn't around because of his podcast. Like, he's really into this run. And that was on full display last night. I mean, when he was in there screaming from the top of the cage and stuff, it was so funny.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
So let's talk about, I mean, they had a great match.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Amazing match. I think back, I don't want to say poor, okay, but what is it for freaking Roman Reigns that people just don't like? And we're crazy. Here's the crazy thing. I know we're going back to the Royal Rumble is going to go back to Philly. So I remember being in Philly for the Royal Rumble and booed them. Oh my God, right? Rock came out and they booed him so bad. And then a year later, he wins and cheers like crazy, and he gets out there. He's like, "Thank you." I am just saying this right?
Yeah,
I think so. Philly, yeah.
Sounds right,
and, And they're just cheering him like, "Oh my God, this is great!" And he's like, "Wow, thanks guys! Like just a year ago, you guys were booing me like crazy, right?" And then this turnaround, and now they're back to booing him again. Ryan, what do you guys? Because I know I'm too close to Roman. I feel like I like this guy so much backstage. I like him as a human being so much. He's a really great person, and so I can't. I'm partial. You know what I mean?
And so many legendary wrestlers give him props too. Like when we interview a lot of the guys like on Sean's show or something, they all name him as one of the standout talents of them. Eric Bischoff was just saying, Sean says the same thing. And I think what it is that at this point, people just love to hate him. Like it's just fun to boo him at this point, whether you like him or not.
But if he turns, are you still gonna love him as a heel?
They'll never do that.
Well, they'll never do that.
People
you know why?
would love it, yes, but it'll never happen.
I think we're getting closer to it. After last night, I feel like we're finally getting closer to it. And we haven't gotten to the Royal Rumble yet, but I feel like it's for the first time seeming like a Roman Reigns heel turn is a possibility. And I feel like the reason, to answer your question, in addition to what you were saying, that everyone is booing him is because it's a lot of those fans who are on, like who read everything on the internet and stuff, and they feel like this is the guy being shoved down their throat. Like they don't want him. Like and regardless, like, I thought the match was great. His appearance in the Royal Rumble was great. I feel like Roman Reigns will be the guy for WWE for years to come. Like he is very good looking. He's entertaining in the ring.
Maybe is that it? Is he just too cute?
I honestly think that might be a lot of times that could
too good looking.
And the daughter and the tea commercial.
And it's cool.
It's like,
that was cool.
He's really cool guy.
As a series, maybe that's what it is.
He's easy
just
to hate.
Too lovable.
He's easy to hate, and they know that he's not going to say anything back because they've been booing him, because they've been doing it. They want. I honestly feel like they're going to boo him until he finally gets turned.
Remember when they did that with Cena and they tried to turn him so much, and then Cena said, how can I turn around and be a heel when I have done so much for Make-A-Wish? Mm-hmm. Think about that, right? He's done so much, and the kids are so much behind him and all of that I don't want to see a Cena heel. I really don't. I think that would be bad for the brand, for both.
Especially after the title match during the Royal Rumble, where he presented the title to the kid from Make-A-Wish. I was like,
saw that last
how
night.
can anybody boo this man or dislike this man?
And John Cena's good at throwing shades of gray into his character. Like when he was crapping on not crapping, but throwing a little shade on the indies, last week and stuff. I think he's good at playing the heel for the people who maybe want to see that, but without making his character a bad person.
But people react really negatively to that, though. There's been a lot of talk the last few weeks. It's like, well, is Cena a heel? Is he a babyface? Is he this or that? I'm like, he's being John Cena. He's being John Cena, and that's okay.
That's what I think is Roman Reigns is doing the same exact thing. Roman is just, like he said, I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just the guy.
Well, and it's even the same with Kevin Owens. I mean, it seems like the thing WWE wants from all their characters right now is that whole shades of gray thing, where they're both like they're fully rounded people. Kevin Owens is supposed to be a bad guy, but he also gets cheered a lot of the time, know? And same for Chris Jericho. He's a bad guy.
But that's because the fans love a heel.
Totally.
They just do. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely. But, there's not any real characters in WWE who are, like, firmly either a face or a heel anymore, Like, even Undertaker kicked Brock Lesnar in the crotch or whatever when he was there, Like, there's things like that.
But when Sheamus had the title, remember? And that's when they actually cheered Roman. They didn't like Sheamus that much.
Yeah.
To me, he was more of a heel than Roman, which is what made Roman get cheered in Philly.
And all
so
because
there you
of
go.
the way Sheamus looked.
I guess.
Terrible.
All right,
so fickle, that WWE universe.
Seriously, the drop on the chairs. My God, when Kevin Owens went through those chairs, I'm like thinking to myself, one bad move. I always say this: one wrong move, and one of those poles in the chairs go through the head or something. It just scares me. It really scares me sometimes, the things that they do, and it just shows you what athletes that they will put their bodies on the line to do this for entertainment.
Yeah. And we got to remember, I remember I interviewed Stephanie McMahon and Triple H many years ago before I really understood what was going on in the ring. And I was kind of harping on that, like, well, what if someone gets hurt or isn't it unsafe? And Triple H just kept saying, they're professionals. They know what they're doing out there.
I know.
Like, this is their job, and it's going to be okay, Christy.
Yeah.
I just always go back to that when I think like, oh my God.
I still, after all these years, I'm still cringing. When I saw the stack of chairs, I went, oh God, I know it's coming and this is not going to be good.
And you have, the whole time you were there, you had the closest seat out of everybody, so you really can see how painful it is.
Oh, it's so painful. So that's why I always have such a hard time when everybody goes, what are you watching wrestling for? It's just so fake. I'm like, okay, really? I need you guys to watch the show. Like, stop saying those things. Watch the show and see those kind of moves.
They know how to fall. You can't know how to fall on chairs. Like, that's not a thing.
No,
you know?
like I said, one wrong move and one of the chair buttons. I mean, come on. And I'm sure that Kevin Owens is not feeling great today.
No,
not.
My only gripe with the match, and it's a minor gripe, but the
God,
one
are you
thing
going to be one of those people?
No.
To find
And I feel like you guys might agree with me on this one.
Okay. What's that?
As a human being who lives in the world, you know that if someone got punched in the face with brass knuckles, they would be knocked out. Like
Not necessarily.
if a person get punched with brass knuckles
Well,
in
it
the
depends.
head, a strong dude punching you in the face.
But those are real brass knuckles.
I know. That's
Yeah.
why it was my only gripe. Like that seems like an end of the match kind of thing. Because as a human being, I know if I get punched in the head with brass knuckles, like I'm not going to be getting
That's
up.
to show you how just strong he was to overcome that.
Roman does look strong after that.
Yeah.
I'm aware. No, I know. But it was my only thing where I was like, wait, you can't get up from that? Like, it'd be like someone hitting you in the head with a baseball, like Triple H coming in with a sledgehammer, and then the guy, like, kicking out still. Like, that'd be crazy.
Well,
I could see.
let's
Okay.
not overlook that Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that was
little
just going to say, how
appearance
did
at
you
the
feel
end
about
here.
that? The Braun Strowman thing.
I love him. I'd love to see him anytime.
Oh.
It didn't.
They're married
I
over
do
here,
like the
Christy.
hair, by
Big
the way.
guys. I love the big guys.
I like the hair with the no hair on the sides and then the long hair in the back.
And his
I
little
like
braid.
it. I like this.
You know
Yeah.
the second he comes out that this is what he's going to do. He's going to cause
Yeah.
carnage, basically,
Yeah.
in the match. And while I didn't think this was necessarily necessary, it wasn't necessarily necessary,
Yeah.
I think they're also trying to do a lot with Braun Strowman, and I can appreciate that. And this was part of him getting a little moment in here, too. And
I
thought that
understand,
was
but is
okay.
it leading then to something with him and Roman? Because that's what didn't make sense to me.
That's my guess, is that we're going to
Yeah.
get Roman versus Braun at Fastlane, and then Roman versus, if you watch this, you watch the Royal Rumble, then we're going to get, at WrestleMania, we'll get Roman versus Taker. Since
Roman versus
he
Taker,
eliminated
which was-
Undertaker, and there was that
Yeah.
huge boo and all that kind of stuff. I'm assuming Taker won't be there for Fastlane, so I'm
Right.
assuming we'll get Braun versus
What
Undertaker.
about Big Show?
I mean,
though?
Braun-
I kind of thought it was
yeah.
heading to Braun versus Big Show.
That's a good point, too.
Right?
Well, but Big Show's got his match with Shaq at WrestleMania.
True.
That's been set in stone for a long time.
it's already been set. That's
so
right.
yeah, they're probably not going to
Okay.
be pushing that on the road to
No.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, okay.
And he eliminated the
Totally
Big
forgot
Show,
about
so that kind of ends that whole thing when Braun.
I don't know, because that would make the Big Show even more like,
True.
right?
True.
So, I don't know.
He does have to feud with somebody leading up. I mean, Shaq's not going to come and make an appearance at Raw every week.
No.
But then, like she said,
That's what I'm
why?
saying.
But then, like she said, why have him interfere and start a thing with Roman if he's gonna have the thing with Big Show? There was a big big mishmash of feuds at the end of their possible ways they could go and stuff.
And maybe that's what they wanted, so that you can actually, for once, be like, oh, this could happen. But wait, that could happen. And maybe this angle, right? Because then it doesn't get so predictable.
Well, I did think that Roman, if he was, I'm surprised that since Roman was a surprise entrant in the Rumble, I'm surprised that they didn't have him eliminate Braun from the match to kind of go that way, since Braun.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like thinking, well, when I saw Braun in there in the Royal Rumble, I know we're jumping ahead. folks,
Sorry,
but,
everyone.
Sorry.
You all
Like
watched
guys-
it.
Like you mind. I don't think anybody minds. But I did think that when Roman got in there, it was going to be this whole thing,
That's what I assumed.
Headline straight to Braun for payback for doing this, so.
Or even if he wasn't a surprise entrant in the match like he was, and came out and just he eliminated Braun from the
Yeah.
match, and because nobody else in the actual match did, and then it would have been kind of like tit for tat there. But yeah, I don't know.
That's not where it went. All right, so the next match after that we had was Neville, right? Neville versus Rich Swann. I mean, I have said it before. I really like Neville as a heel. I really do. And Rich really does some good work. So I like this match. I mean, I know it's hard to come off of a championship match, right?
Especially with the cage and the DQs and the chairs.
so hard, and then you're right before the next championship match. So it's a hard place to be, but I thought they pulled it off. They gave a really good match, and just to me it was solid.
It was a solid cruiserweight match. Like
Yeah,
they
solid
made sure, like,
cruiserweight
this is there's gonna be a main event match after, like you said. There was this hardcore match before. We have to do something different, and I felt like they accomplished that. They flipped around, they did their thing, and Neville has been killing it, and he won the title now.
But it's so nice to see these guys too, because you see the high flying, and those are always fun matches to see.
Well, absolutely, and Neville knows that he can't do a whole lot of what he used to do
because
as a heel.
as a
so
heel.
it's just sort of interesting to see what he would do. He was undefeated since his return, coming back into this, and these guys are old friends from New Japan.
Yeah, they
and
definitely are.
I think
Yeah.
that was obvious. I think you can always tell.
Dragon Gate.
From Dragon Gate, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate to be a little Dragon Gate,
it's
Christy.
okay.
Japan. Thank you, Ryan.
All right, I would have done the same thing.
If you don't, the people will.
And Rich taps in submission, which to me was kind of saying a message too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because uncommon to have a baby face tap, really,
Yeah.
maybe in this situation.
Yeah. And I like that he's got a new submission move too. Like
That was cool.
He looked cool, and the red arrow is like something that you pop for. So it makes
Right.
sense to do a move that you're gonna boo for when you make someone tap out and stuff. I like that he switched it up as much as I like the red arrow.
Yeah. Were you going to
That's
say
what it's called,
something,
right?
Christy?
No, I mean, I will miss the red arrow, but I do love me some heel.
You don't think we'll see it at all? The red arrow? I guess there's no way to really make it up.
I mean, it has seemed since he came back like he's been looking for a different finisher. He was doing the top rope suplex for a minute. Now he's got the submission move.
Unless you just, you don't use it, and all of a sudden when he's going to turn babyface and then boom,
then
there
everyone
you
goes,
go.
yeah!
Yes.
That's my guess.
Yes,
That's
me
how
too.
we'll know.
All right, so then we headed to the WWE Championship
Ooh.
match
Big
with
one.
AJ Styles and John Cena. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to say something because I know that people give John Cena a hard time. They, I have been there when they have chanted, "You can't wrestle," chants, and I know that he's got certain moves and all this kind of stuff, but there has never been, seriously, when John Cena has a match, no matter who the opponent is, it's an amazing match. It seriously
Yeah, I'm
happens.
not going to argue there. Yeah, he is a big match wrestler, and he showed that last night.
And it's always been the case. So I'm always like, when the fans are sitting there giving him a hard time for this or for that, and I'm going, yeah, but do you guys hear the fans? I mean, the guy knows how to bring fans into a match. It doesn't matter who he's at, because you can't just say, "Oh, it's because AJ Styles." No, because
Nope.
I've seen it with Kevin Owens.
Yep.
I've seen it with all his opponents.
Yep.
Right.
And it's especially impressive for this bout last night because we've seen AJ John
And,
Cena
so
several
many times, right?
And a lot
Yeah.
of those matches, their SummerSlam match last year was considered one of the best matches
yes.
of the year.
Yes.
But even with the added stipulation of the title finally being on the line, it's like people just still want to see these two go.
Wow, and did they go? I mean, that was so impressive. And I remember Kurt Angle, when we had him here on the show, he talked about how he wants his final match to be with AJ Styles. Remember that got revealed. And he mentioned how working AJ, he does all the work. And it's funny because I looked at that last night and I went, wow, he does a lot of work.
That is so funny that you said that, because while I was watching at my friend Jamie's house, my co-host, and I said the exact same thing to him. I was like, Kurt was on Lilian's show, and I was like, this is exactly what he was talking about. I mean, AJ is doing so much work, and you can't even tell that he's doing a majority of the work when you're watching it, because he's so good at it. Like, he's so good at it. And John is the perfect match for him. I mean, like a long time, like it was John Cena and CM Punk were putting on great matches.
Yes.
And I feel like he's found the next like good opponent that he can have these really good matches with. And AJ Styles versus John Cena matches, they've all been great.
Yeah.
And last night, like, it wasn't, out of the ring. There was not really hardcore stuff like they did in the Universal title match.
Submission after submission moves after submission moves after submission.
And
That was so great.
Using each other's moves.
Yeah.
Each other's moves.
And like
That
10
was-
AAs in a row, and like top rope AA, and all these things, and like flipping through AA. It was, man, I loved it.
It was so good. It was just really solid from top to finish. How do you feel though about the fact that he won?
I look at it this way, is that WWE, everyone knows this, they like to rewrite history in their favor. And John Cena, we all know John Cena is going to break Ric Flair's record eventually.
Can you believe
it's
this?
going to happen.
So last night was a match tying 16 times that he has had the title. 16 times. Oh my God. So he matched it with Ric Flair, and that's going to happen.
It's going to happen, and it only makes sense that it happens. So it's obvious that John Cena's in commercial after commercial after movie after TV show. It's only a matter of time before he's
He
gone.
just got picked up. I think he's going to be hosting the Nickelodeon
the Kids' Choice Awards.
So
and a new movie with Leslie Mann.
Yeah, and it's like it's only a matter of time before he's gone. Like he's on borrowed time. We're on borrowed time with John Cena at this point, and the record-breaking win has to happen at WrestleMania. You would think he has to win.
Maybe he'll drop it here and then he'll
Well, I think everyone's first question is going to be, how does Ric Flair feel about this? And actually, a little news tidbit for you.
Oh, yeah?
Ric Flair was there at the Royal Rumble last night. He was backstage, and there were plans for him to come out after John Cena's win and strap the belt around his waist and a whole kind of ceremony. And that got scrapped and actually became a social media segment or something that we'll see from backstage.
Which is really confusing to me because of what we talked about, because of the 20 minutes thing. Like, with the extra 20 minutes...
Maybe they didn't know they were going to have an extra 20 minutes. Maybe the Rumble actually went shorter.
But no,
because it's timed.
Yeah, the Rumble's usually like an hour, right?
But the end isn't timed.
Well, but the Rumble's usually like an hour. And they ended the last match, the AJ Styles and John Cena match at Pacific time here. They ended it an hour and a half before, so they knew there was going to be a half hour of extra. You would think, like, hey, send Ric Flair out real quick, play his music, strut around for a minute, give him a hat tip, and walk the back.
They also had like video package after video package in between the title match and the Rumble itself, so it was a little surprising. And they did already release the Ric Flair package, and he just kept saying, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
But I wish we would have seen that in front of.
He said he's worked hard. I'm happy for him. So if he's okay
with
it,
I really wish that we would have seen that, because had you not just told me that, I didn't know. So majority of the people did not know that happened.
He was in Gorilla posting pictures from his phone, like on social media, of like Charlotte and like everyone.
So everyone knew that he was there.
Like, why not just play? Like, you don't think at Royal Rumble the place would have gone crazy if, like, after he tied it, if we heard the woo and like he came out,
52,000 people would have popped so big.
So hard. You would have had a moment that would have went down in history. And
these are those things that you don't know why WWE chooses to do that.
The only thing I can think of is that they're waiting for 17. Like, they thought, well, if we make this big special moment at 16, it won't be as cool when Flair comes out and like does it to say, like, you're now the new man.
But then do you think that they would have done it? Well, yeah. So
that's the only thing I can think of, is that they're technically doing that twice.
Maybe. So we'll see.
So whenever he does end up doing it.
Yeah.
Because we were talking before we started that, with Elimination Chamber being in 2 weeks, I think it is. There's a good,
already another pay-per-view in 2 weeks.
With Randy Orton winning the Rumble, sorry, I know we haven't gotten there yet, fully the Rumble, but
it's okay.
It does seem like...
Spoiler!
It does seem like there's going to be some kind of surprise thing that happens to where Cena maybe isn't champion after Elimination Chamber, and it leads to something with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt or something like that.
Okay, so actually, I think we can go to that. No. Is there another match?
Nope.
No, that was it.
That was it.
Okay, so let's go on to the Royal Rumble, because that was, like we said, it was an hour's worth. And we knew for sure there were 22 people that were already listed. So, we're like, okay, there's 8 that have not been named.
Yep.
So it was, exciting to see who's going to be coming out, right? Some of them I was surprised, to be honest with you, that came out they weren't the surprises that I thought it was going to be. Right?
Well, I think that was the main gripe with last night's show, was that there weren't many surprises. Like, Ty Dillinger was technically a surprise.
He was 10. You said last week, I remember saying, he's got to be 10. He's just got to be 10. Well, he was 10.
Surprise no one.
Yeah, that was like the thing everyone wanted to happen. If anything, it would have just pissed people off if they didn't do it.
Happen,
Right. So, and the fact that there weren't any, like, surprises necessarily, like, I think it was smart that they had that one at least.
Right. But
because we didn't get Samoa Joe. We didn't get Finn Balor.
No. Is Finn even cleared?
No.
We didn't get Kurt Angle.
Well, okay, so Kurt was actually in Scotland? Where's it? The 5.
He was abroad somewhere.
He was abroad.
5-star wrestling.
5-star wrestling. He was
we were pretty
commentating.
sure that wasn't a ruse.
So
you never know.
I heard that, I went, okay, so that's not happening.
Yeah.
And we spoke about that, how really it was about the Hall of Fame moment that they mentioned, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Then we knew that Finn Balor has not been cleared, because I thought about PJ, but he hasn't been cleared. Any word as to when he's going to get cleared?
What I heard it's soon. If he gets cleared. Like, I know I think we might have him for WrestleMania, hopefully.
Really, that would be so awesome to see a big thing with him in WrestleMania.
My guess is it's the night after WrestleMania, just because, like, the build up to it might, if he's
Your
not
guess is
cleared,
that what?
he comes back the night after WrestleMania.
What?
And, like,
No,
If you're
this
not,
has to no.
because they say the other guys get upset if you're not there to build up the feud.
What is
why
there
should
for
you
Finn
get that shot?
Yeah, like what is there really for Finn to do at WrestleMania? Like win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal or something? Like he's not going to wrestle Kevin Owens for the title like he should. He's Owens probably going to be wrestling Jericho or something like that. So in my opinion,
Why do you think him and Kevin Owens?
well, it seems like they've been building towards that for the past few months. Like they're gonna have to break up eventually. And now that Jericho has the U.S. title, to me it seems like
It'll be Jericho versus Kevin.
Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
because the guys like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens usually aren't champion going into WrestleMania anymore. It's it's a lot for the casual viewer, so they want guys like a Goldberg or a Brock Lesnar or an Undertaker to hold the title like going into WrestleMania and stuff. So I have a hard time believing Kevin Owens is going to hold the title going into WrestleMania. So I'm assuming we're going to get Chris Jericho versus Owens. That's my guess. So, but yeah, like in the Rumble itself, with a Finn Balor, I feel like it would have been lost in the shuffle, like an Angle, a Finn Balor, a Samoa Joe, and Nakamura. None of those guys were going to win. Randy Orton was going to win the match. Like, it's a thing they've been building up for a while. So I feel like it would have been lost, all those guys.
I don't agree. I really would have loved to
be
see
surprised,
Finn.
right?
No, I know. I really would have loved to see Finn.
Well,
But
if Finn-
again, if he's not medically cleared, that's one thing.
Finn's the only one I would have been okay with if he was cleared.
I think if he would have been cleared, it would have. I think it would have been perfect.
He should
for
have
him to
won
be
if he was
there.
cleared.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my
That
opinion.
would have been so awesome. But
Yeah.
I am happy that Randy won, and we'll get to that. I do want to say that Maurice, when she came out, I love that outfit.
I love every Maurice outfit.
Oh my God, it's so awesome. I want to wear that so bad.
Well,
I just saw it.
We only saw her for a hot second.
I know, that was the only thing. I was like,
no,
no, don't turn around. Same thing, when Lana came out, it was just, wow, looks so good. Oh no, don't
With her
go.
new short hair.
I know, yeah, I like the short hair. Actually, I saw her short hair. It's one of those things girls play around with the lengths of their hairs and
She
stuff.
wears the Bellamy extensions.
And
like most of the girls.
and I remember when I saw the short hair, I went, "Oh, you should totally keep the short hair." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet," and all that. And now I'm glad to see it because it totally pulls it off. I love it.
And
But
Rusev
yeah,
had that face mask too. Like, did they say? Because I was like not listening.
He has a broken nose.
Broken nose.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy.
So wrestling with a broken nose, when you land, it still must hurt.
Yeah.
And
I
there
was
was one
thinking
move
that.
where I think it got moved. The mask got moved. I was like, oh!
I think like Goldberg kicked him in the face or something, and you saw him kind of like. Yeah, I saw
That
that
just
too.
made me cringe too, because guys, whenever you get hit, even by accident, I remember I walked into a glass door, not even walked in, I ran. I was running around the apartment or at the house at my sister and I, when we were, growing up, whatever, we chased each other, and so there was this sliding glass door. We were chasing each other, and she closed it, and I didn't know that, and I came around the corner, and I ran full on, and I just remember my nose. Thank God I didn't break it, but I was like crying. Right? It's just so painful. The nose is so painful.
When I was a kid, my brother did that same thing, except he ran right through the sliding glass door.
And that was, mine actually shattered it. Everything went, but it stayed there. It was all little pieces.
Oh, crazy.
It just shattered, but stayed.
Yeah, no, he went directly through it. And then I remember I was in the front yard. It was our neighbor's house, and I was in the front. I heard him start yelling, and I went, and you could just see the glass, like, ding, 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 and he was covered in blood, like, glass in his head, like, and my brother wasn't a crier, like a big pain kind of guy, so he was just standing there like, "Hey, call someone right now," and, like covered in blood. And I was like, "Okay, I'll call mom." Like,
yeah. So when you guys play around,
I have no siblings. I guess I missed out on running into glass walls.
yeah, be careful near sliding glass windows.
We went there because of Rusev, so we're feeling for you, Rusev. I hope your nose feels better. So some these surprises that I got. We talked about Ty Dillinger. We talked about Kalisto coming in. Well, we haven't talked about. These are some of the surprises. Mark Henry came in. That wasn't a surprise, being from Texas for sure. Enzo, I think
big surprise.
Enzo played for me the Santino Marella moment.
That was the best.
Yeah.
I was so worried that it was actually going to be a Santino where Brock was just going to throw him out, and I like more that they actually like gave Enzo a second to like get fired up and then just get mowed down. It was so funny.
And speaking of that, Enzo and Cass, actually, they started with a big promo.
Yeah.
Royal
Opened
Rumble.
the
That was awesome, and the promo was great, and how amazing to hear 52,000 people actually repeating everything, or not even repeating, just saying it with them, right?
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me like when Road Dogg would come in and do his ladies and gentlemen, boys
yeah.
and girls, children of all ages. Like, there's just something about that just the fans love. That's the thing of being a part of it.
They are 100% the new age outlaws of
Yes.
this generation. I mean, people that my girlfriend, for example, like she doesn't always watch NXT, but when they came to the main roster and she started seeing them do that, she repeats it while we're sitting there on the couch watching TV. You know, I mean, it's such a fun thing to be cheering along with them saying.
Can't teach that.
And that was the reason why we were really surprised by him coming into the actual Royal Rumble, is because you thought you already saw him.
Right.
He ushered Cass in, and then that was going to be the last that we saw of Enzo Amore.
Do you think it was disappointing? Because some of the other ones, again, we saw Roman Reigns, he was number 30, and that's always a spot that people are expecting to be a surprise. And then Jack Gallagher came in. Also, James Ellsworth
He was
came
a little
in.
nervous.
He was a little nervous, you could tell.
But
He needed some help from Carmella.
like a lot of people
Ambrose.
complained about no surprises. I thought Ellsworth and Gallagher were fun surprises. Like that whole moment with Ellsworth when he
the
came
umbrella?
down, the umbrella with Gallagher was hilarious.
That was funny with Jericho between the legs, yeah.
And then with Ellsworth, I loved the fact that they had a storyline from Raw and a storyline from SmackDown that intersected, where Braun was in the ring and then Ellsworth comes out, gets his moment, but then Dean is, and he's like too scared to get in because Braun's the guy he debuted against, and then Dean comes out and like pretends like no we're buddy again, and gets him to slide into the ring, and then Braun just takes Ellsworth, just chucks him out of the ring. That looked so
bad,
painful.
so bad. Even my husband was like, that hurt. Oh my god.
Good thing Carmella had disappeared by then, because
Yeah.
otherwise we would not want her to see her man in such a
So I
condition.
guess they're an item, huh?
They're Carmel's worth, Lillian. They went shopping last week. Well, they went shopping 2 weeks
2
ago.
weeks,
We
yeah.
saw
That's
last
right,
week on
yes.
SmackDown.
Yeah, so I mean, it's lasted a whole 2 weeks, this relationship.
Now, do you think, because you have experience with that, with Vince better than us, obviously. Do you think the fact that Jack Gallagher was the only guy from the cruiserweights in the Rumble says something about him, like in what terms and how the company looks at him?
Well, I think that, but I also think like maybe it was one of those things. Hey, we could do something really cute with this
With this
moment with the
umbrella.
umbrella, and it was really cute, and it was different,
And
right?
people love him so much.
Yeah. So I think it's. I thought it was good, and I think it was really great to have somebody from the cruiserweight in there. Were you guys disappointed about Samoa Joe? Because a lot of people talked about that.
I wasn't, only because of the fact, like what I was saying earlier, that I personally would like something more meaningful. Like, as much as I love the Royal Rumble, I feel like if you debut and then lose, it makes you look weak, in my opinion. So if he didn't win the Royal Rumble, which he wasn't going to do,
Right.
I don't feel like it's necessary to have him
See, I
there.
think something might happen tonight.
That's what I think, too.
Oh, see, I was going to say, I just need it to happen. I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. I feel like he deserves it. It's
I feel
time.
like there's always
We've been
something
talking about it since last
day after.
WrestleMania.
So I think something. I don't have any more insight.
No,
I really don't.
But
I
they
just
are
think-
trying
feel
to
it.
back that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is I've noticed this year specifically, because they have the brand split now,
Mm-hmm.
they're very much trying to bring back the big four pay-per-views as like destination things, like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania. And they're trying to push the fact that like the Raw after these events is just like the Raw after WrestleMania.
Exactly.
So in order to do that, like you have to have these big things happen.
Right.
And I agree with you. This is where the road to WrestleMania starts. I'm totally cool with him being there tonight. And I honestly feel like if he shows up tonight, it will ease the tensions or ease some of the complaints people had about the Royal Rumble. I really feel like when you build up this idea in your head of someone being in the Rumble, and I didn't this year with Joe because I didn't want to have a Daniel Bryan situation in my head where I was like angry afterwards.
Yeah.
When you build up this thing in your head like this guy is coming and then it doesn't happen, it just becomes this huge letdown, you know?
Right.
And so I was prepared this year. Like, I knew my guy never usually wins, so I'm just going to be along.
Who was your guy?
Don't be Ryan Satin's guy.
Yeah. Who did you
Superstars.
want to see actually win?
I mean, if I could have picked a
anybody.
winner, I would have picked Samoa Joe, honestly. Like, 'cause
No. I'm saying, but even that was in there.
someone that was actually in the Rumble,
In the
who
Rumble.
would I have picked? I probably would have picked Braun Strowman. If I was picking, I mean, obviously there's not the right storyline to go into it, but I feel like Braun Strowman is a guy who, I like when the Royal Rumble makes a new star. Like, I like when they become a main eventer because they won the Royal Rumble. And I feel like if Braun Strowman had won the Royal Rumble, this would have been his shiny moment. It would have given us a clear path to what he was going to do at WrestleMania. And he's one of the biggest stars on Raw right now. I mean, he's like you said, everyone loves Braun Strowman right now. He's like the flavor of the week. And, right now it doesn't seem like we have any idea what he's going to do towards WrestleMania, even though he's one of the biggest guys on the roster. And so I would have had Braun Strowman win.
I was guessing that it was possibly going to be Baron Corbin just from the way that they've been building him up lately and from what happened early on in the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't have exactly been ecstatic with that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, when someone brought this up to me first last week on the SmackDown After Show, I was like, no way. And now that I think about it, The Miz winning this and getting another opportunity to main event WrestleMania, which he talks about all the time, he had such a great year. He has done so much with building up the titles and people loving him. He was voted most improved last year when he's already been around for so long.
Yeah.
I could have seen him winning it as well.
But I'm actually really happy that Randy won. I'm not, but it's so funny. Again, Roman, people were like, no. So they were kind of relieved when Randy won.
The guy Jamie, who I was watching with, Jamie Iovine, he literally, like, when Roman's music hit at number 30, he just started screaming at the TV, like, no. And then he started eliminating people, and he was like, oh no, it's happening. Like, next thing I was cracking up. He's like, oh no, we can't have Roman win this. Like, no. And I think it was the smartest decision they could have had. They know that everyone hates Roman Reigns.
God, it's so crazy.
If you're not sure if they're going to cheer for Randy Orton winning, have him eliminate the guy everybody hates.
Yeah. And it was funny because people were tweeting me last night, and they were, what is those called? I forgot the name of it now. The little short little...
like the memes or the GIFs?
The memes, thank you, and the GIFs, yes. So they were texting me, or tweeting me those, and it was really funny. Two of them were, one of them was Daniel Bryan going, no. And then the other one was actually Denzel Washington going like, and the caption was, when you realize that Roman Reigns did not win the Royal Rumble, and it was Denzel Washington like,
I just posted the Darth Vader gif when he's like, no.
I gotta figure out how to make those. Those are actually
it's
a
in
lot
the
of
search.
fun.
It's in the search on Twitter now.
Oh,
I'll show you after.
They made it easy for you
Super
now.
simple
See,
now.
I think my problem is I'm using Echo Phone or something. I don't even know why I'm
Use
using
the Twitter
that.
app now. It's better now.
Okay, because a Twitter app, I was so lost in it, and Echo Phone made it so easy.
Yeah.
So I just have to, I guess, switch over there and see.
I like the Twitter app.
Okay, good. Then,
I personally like it.
Yeah, you'll have that.
It won't take you long to
Definitely
do.
Yeah, you'll
show
get
me.
you'll get the
for
hang
sure.
of it.
But who do you want to see then, Randy Orton? Because you said earlier, I was thinking, okay, so is this leading to Randy Orton versus John Cena?
Yeah.
We have not seen that many feuds with them.
No,
at
we've seen a
all.
lot of with them. Remember they had that whole thing where for
We did?
3 years where they only wrestled each other for a really long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It's so long that I forgot.
Yeah, it's been a while, but they wrestled each other so many times for a while that fans would change the channel when they wrestled again because it was so many times. They wrestled. It was them and John Cena and Batista were the match they did
Oh, that's right.
500 times.
Yes, now I remember.
And then it was they had to retire that of we're not gonna do John
Okay.
Cena versus these guys anymore.
So you were saying that you absolutely do not feel that they're going to go that route.
I don't think that John Cena leaves Elimination Chamber as champion. I think they strictly did this so that he could tie the record and they could be primed for when he's going to retire and know that we will have him break the record now. To me, this was big moment for the people there, capped off the trilogy of matches between him and AJ, and it's sort of purpose of tying, but yeah, I think there's absolutely no way he
Okay,
leaves.
so who do you see? Because I know who I see.
Bray Wyatt.
You see Bray Wyatt. I
Yeah.
don't see that one.
I see only.
I mean, I know it's because they've had their whole thing or
That's
whatever.
the only
but
reason. And I honestly felt last night, I thought that the Rumble was going to end with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton eliminating everybody and Randy Orton finally turning on Bray Wyatt and
Yes.
dumping him out of the ring so that we could go that way. But now I'm thinking that something's going to have to happen after,
Randy was playing this whole time, and it was all a plan to annihilate.
I mean, I think
the
that
Wyatt
that's
family.
just too predictable to me.
But if Bray Wyatt wins at Elimination Chamber and Randy Orton comes in to celebrate with him and then hits him with the RKO and finally celebrate,
I don't know why I feel like that's too predictable. Because you know what I would love to see, and maybe again I've just seen so many matches I forgot, but I would love to see Randy Orton versus AJ Styles.
I also would like that.
Right? They've never seen it. They've never met. They've never had matches against each other.
I agree with you, and I think they would put on a stellar match.
Unbelievable match. So I feel like at Elimination Chamber, you have another one where it's AJ Styles versus John Cena. AJ wins.
Well, they're in the chamber, so.
Oh, they're in the chamber. That's right.
So it's all. AJ's going to be in it.
Oh, but he's right.
He's
That's
going to be
what I'm
in
saying.
it. Yeah.
But AJ could walk out of there being champion again, and then all of a sudden you go to Mania with AJ Styles versus Randy.
And the match between Seth Rollins and Randy was great. So AJ would be just as good, if not better.
I think the only problem with that is that people wouldn't know who to cheer for. People love AJ Styles. People love Randy Orton. That's the only reason why I think
that
maybe
matters.
they would say, "Oh, you know what? Maybe not."
I don't know because
there's not a clear good guy, bad guy.
Yeah,
there.
but you've got time to build that too.
That's
going
true.
there, and I don't think that really matters. I think that people are just going to appreciate that it's going to be an amazing match between the two of them. Not saying that Randy and Bray can't have an amazing match. It's just a different style. Yes, it's a different style. So I think that I feel personally that you're not going to get disappointed either way. Whether it's Randy Orton versus Bray or Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, I think either one you're going to have a great match and great,
To be completely honest with you, I would much rather have that. Like, I think they're going to do Bray Wyatt your way. I would personally rather it be AJ Styles because I think they would have a great match. Like, all those RKOs out of nowhere, I mean, AJ Styles could do a perfect one of those where he's doing some kind of like, he's doing the phenomenal forearm and it becomes, or something like that. So I would love that, but also with WrestleMania, they like to, it seems to me at least, like they like to have the people that are already known. And Bray Wyatt has been on WrestleMania matches for the past like 4 years or so or something like that. So he's a player at WrestleMania now.
But could you maybe not see, Luke kind of went babyface last night.
Which was awesome.
Did, right?
Yep.
So if you see something with Bray and Luke?
I hope so.
Maybe?
I mean, when I was watching it, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I just look at the fact that WrestleMania is really around the corner, and it's like there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, and so Luke now being babyface, I'm like, clean up, please.
Right?
So you want to see a whole new Luke Harper?
I want to see a whole new Luke Harper. I really do. It'd be awesome to see
Can he be like
him
a B-boy
tonight.
again? Because that was so cute. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
When he's not all whatever
with
we
the
should
dirty
call that.
shirt. By the way, I mean, I don't know if I can.
You're the dirty shirt,
His
Luke
wife
Harper.
actually makes those dirty shirts. They purposely actually.
They make them dirty?
They make them dirty.
Shut up.
They really do. He was saying something. I don't know.
So they're not actually dirty?
Is it okay to say
Yeah,
this?
it's
Is it okay to
yeah.
talk about it? It's just a shirt.
We're not gonna.
Does this fall?
Obviously, we're not gonna tell you to not tell us
Does
that.
this fall under one of those things that you shouldn't tell us because of the magic of wrestling?
No,
Like how the
that's
Undertaker
a big
gets under
If
the
you
deal.
didn't tell us about Undertaker, you can at least tell us how he makes his shirts
I
dirty.
just think I know that now I can't remember exactly what she does, but I believe it was this way. He is married, right?
Yeah.
I am correct.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I believe that she takes. I can't remember everything that she does, but she takes it and puts it and dumps it into some dirty stuff, and then it and I think it was him. I can't remember who was telling me this. But yeah, they just purposely because you cannot buy the shirt that color.
Right.
Oh
It
yeah,
is
that makes,
not
yeah,
sold.
that would make sense.
So it makes
that
sense.
is
So I'm
Wyatt
like,
family white.
I just assumed he wasn't washing it all the time, to be honest.
No, it's clean.
So it's clean.
It's clean.
It's clean dirty.
It's just clean dirty. Exactly.
If it's anything like theater, they use like coffee or tea.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's either coffee or tea that she soaks it in. Yes.
Wow.
And then just lets it sit there for a while, and then just kind of stains it that way. But you can't.
love that.
They should sell it. Like you should sell that color.
Sell those dirty shirts.
Yeah, but I really do hope that he comes out with a whole new look. That would be great.
No, I'm honestly. I was saying the exact thing to my friends last night. I feel like everyone is kind of on board with a repackage for Luke Harper of just like
Yes.
JBL is a perfect example of someone who was a wrestler that everyone respected his
Yeah.
wrestling in the ring,
Acolyte,
and he was
yeah.
but he was like a tough beard
Yes.
cowboy, and it wasn't until he made the change to JBL where he was this rich
Wow.
businessman that he became a main eventer.
Right,
And I
yes.
feel like Luke Harper has that same kind of potential.
It is his moment to separate from all of that, to change it up. And I hope that he's got a really cool look already planned. Like maybe he knew this was coming or maybe anticipated or something. And then I know that the makeup team at WWE, they're really, really good.
The WWE makeup divas?
Makeup divas.
I follow them on Instagram.
They're really good. So I'm hoping that we see that.
And he had that whole time off when he was injured. So
Yes.
he could have been, because I remember he did an interview while he was injured, and he said something along the lines of like, my ultimate goal is to be world champion. Like, if you're not wanting to be world champion, like, why are you here?
Why are you
know?
here? Exactly.
And
You gotta-
I honestly feel like he'll never get that being Bray Wyatt's second
Sidekick.
sidekick.
No.
He's never going to get that.
No.
As cool and awesome as he is, he needs a little bit of a repackage.
So if he has a repackage and he is on tonight with that, then if he does face Bray Wyatt, I mean, I don't know. It could lead to them feuding together.
I
or
would hope so.
something,
I
or
mean-
he just comes out there and somebody else, maybe he does go out there, does a promo, whole new look, and then has somebody to afford to compete against him or something. I don't know. But I'm just saying it would be really cool.
I definitely think they should be feuding. I just, like we were just saying, there's only so many matches you can have at WrestleMania.
I know. But Bray versus Luke and then Randy versus AJ.
Would be better.
That would be the way I would love to see it happen.
Why aren't you on creative? That was pretty good.
Yeah, right?
Did you ever chime in with those ideas?
Who do we talk to? Do you know anyone over there at the WWE, Lillian?
That is one of the hardest jobs, is being a writer at
Oh,
WWE.
yeah.
I'm sure.
They do not get enough accolades, and I gotta tell you, people can be on them all the time. Oh, you should have done this, should have done that. It is a really hard job, show after show, and being creative and working with Vince and trying to please Vince and please everybody else there. You know, the pressure is really high.
And it's a thankless job too.
It's
I mean,
a thankless
there's
job.
not
So
even
right
credits.
now, I want to thank you guys. Seriously, I worked with all of you before, and it is show after show. It's really incredible.
I mean, look, I worked at TMZ where we put on a show every day that we filmed it at 7 a.m, edited it, and then it was on TV by 3 o'clock. And like, that's not easy. That's not easy at all. You know, we had TMZ and TMZ Live and all those other things. Like, that's a grind on you.
It
You know,
is.
so having to do Raw, SmackDown, all in a row like that. I mean, and pay-per-views and doing it all year round with
All
no
year
break.
round.
It's tough,
It
man.
is
And
tough.
those guys don't have credits. I mean, most fans have no idea who's on creative, and that's kind of crappy too for
Thankless.
those guys. Like they can't put that on IMDb necessarily. Like they were a writer for WWE for 10 years.
No, I mean, I think just recently with the shakeups that have happened on the writing team and with the brand split and with Road Dogg taking over sort of creative on SmackDown, that's what's actually brought people's eyes to it and go, oh, Road Dogg, we know him. Oh, what's he
Yep.
doing?
Yeah.
Oh, writing? Oh,
Right,
okay.
wow. Yeah.
That's kind of put it on the map a little bit. And by the way, the writing on SmackDown has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. Well, he's not. He's in with Ryan Ward. They're both. Yeah.
Co-head creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, so before I forget to talk about Randy, I know that he had a lot of people were coming down on him. Apparently, he was at the gym working out, and a fan in the middle of his workout asked him for an autograph, and words were said. And then all of a sudden, fans were like, "Hey, so we pay your salary. You should always give us." I'm thinking, you know what? I have to take on this side. And I'm always really good with fans.
Yeah.
I think it's
course.
really important to respect the fans and everything. But I think it goes both ways. You have to respect the guys in the middle of his workout. You just don't go and interrupt people. Same thing with the meals. Don't go up to the meal table when they're having a meal.
And workout's
just-
part of his job.
It
Right.
is.
And he was nice at first. This gentleman approached him initially, and Randy just said, "Oh, I can't hear you, bro," and gave him a fist bump.
Yes.
He got his Randy Orton moment.
Right.
Why he didn't stop there. He then went and took a rogue photo of Randy working out. I mean, there's not anything more rude. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
woman right
there's
now that's
gotta
getting
be
tried with a
boundaries.
crime for taking a photo of someone else at a gym.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well, I
where
was
you
naked,
that's
though.
where you cross the line.
There actually, I read Lance Storm actually posted about this, and it was really nice. He actually wrote this on his Facebook, and then he tweeted it, and he said he put it in such a way that I was like, oh wow, I never actually looked at it that way, because one thing that's been said, like I said, it's like, well, you signed up for this. This is part of your job to have accessibility to all the fans. That you get to autograph and all
that's
that.
true.
It is to a point.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And then Lance put it. I thought put it really well, and he said, if you work now, it's funny. You can tell he's Canadian because I think he used Tom Horton.
He did, yeah, he did. I thought the same thing.
Right. And my husband's Canadian, so I totally know what that is. And it's like the Starbucks of here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just use Starbucks. So
Yeah.
it's like if you go and you work at the Starbucks, Just because you work there doesn't mean that I can come in and actually start prying on your life and ask you for this and ask you for that because you're part of, you work there and you're providing a service to me, right? So it's the same thing. Just because work at WWE doesn't mean that you have access to 24/7 sign autographs whenever you want them to.
Absolutely.
There has to be boundaries.
And Randy gets some of the worst sometimes. I remember there was that picture a few years ago of Randy where the guy took a picture of him in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's
like
not
that's crazy.
Cool, and that's one thing that I would say sometimes with the fans. Fans have got to know too. Like I said, it's a balance thing, right? It's a balance. Just there has to be respect on both sides. Yeah, and I think that if they're at hotels and it's at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, when we're leaving, we're going to the arena and you're asking for an autograph, I think totally, absolutely, it is the right place, no problem there. And it is up to the superstar whether they want to stop or not. They have that right too. But sometimes when we would drive from place to place and it was 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning that we were arriving to the new arena, that we've just driven 200, and we're not getting driven, okay? We don't drive in buses.
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have chauffeurs.
Yeah.
We're driving ourselves.
Schlepping into a packed car.
Schlepping into a packed car after being completely, them being beat up, and all. And at 5 in the morning, you're asking someone for an autograph. I think that it should not. No, that's a no-go.
Do you think?
What about the idea that people ask, but they should be polite or understand if you say, no, it's late, I'm going into the hotel?
Well, that's the thing is that sometimes I've seen fans where you can politely say that to them. No, sorry. Like I have been off of red eyes before and looked like Medusa.
That's the one. That's the one I was going to bring up. That a lot of people say the airport pics are where people need to draw the line.
Oh my God! Well,
you don't mean you look like Alundra Blaze. You mean you look like real Medusa.
Exactly, like real Medusa. Okay, from the Greek goddess Medusa. All right, with the hair everywhere. That I'll sit there and I'll sign an autograph. But when they want the picture, I'm like, look. Do you really want a photo with me looking like you don't want to have this memory of you and I with me looking like this? You really don't. Like I will sign you, I'll sign something for you, but I just again, I feel like there is a certain amount of just respect that the person has been through a lot. They've just had a match. They've just driven 200 plus miles. Just have that. And there's autograph signings. You understand that there's so many autograph signing moments. That's why WWE does the Access, WWE Access, or the WrestleCon. By the way, I will be on WrestleCon this year.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's gonna be cool.
That's cool.
So that's gonna be in Orlando. I'm very excited about that. So check me out on there. But that's why you have those moments. So
well, and it's also with social media being such a big thing now. A lot of times. The people aren't even asking because they're a giant fan of yours. Like, they just want to post the picture on social media to show that, I met this famous person. And, I've learned that, I try at least to save the picture for, someone that I actually care about. Not as, take a picture to take a picture, but, if I see a celebrity who, let's say I saw Dustin Hoffman, I probably wouldn't take a picture with him at this point because I've learned how much it bothers people sometimes, unless I was, in a public setting, at a concert or, at a thing, and I was like, hey, we're both backstage standing next to each other. But if I saw him in public, I wouldn't be like, hey, take this picture with me now and feel like he owed it to me, Yeah. But I do know as someone who, once in a while people say, hey, I saw you on TMZ, I used to love you on TMZ. That does feel nice when someone says that to you.
Me too, and I like it when people ask me. Yeah.
So you should always say to us, not always, but if it feels like it's the right moment, maybe not during dinner or during a workout.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
but
all
if you
I'm
see
saying.
them,
Absolutely. So I think cut him some slack in that you just don't interrupt somebody in the middle of a workout and then make a big to-do about it. That is not cool.
You certainly don't take their picture with them already telling you no.
No, exactly. Respect. Just respect both ways. That's it. That's all.
And just know for a celebrity, when you say, I'm a huge fan of yours, that means the world to them. So, that should be enough. If you're actually a huge fan of that person, just know you kind of made that person's day by saying that to them. So, you shouldn't necessarily have to feel like you need that photo.
Don't ruin it by being the person who asked for the photo. Just tell them you're a big fan.
Although I will say that fans have also been really good. I remember one time I was in Chicago and I just received, I don't even know what it was, but I received really bad news. And there were so many, this was right after the event. There were so many people in the lobby. So many fans. And I remember that I walked in and I looked at them and I said, I'm so sorry, guys. I just received really bad news. I can't do this. I hope you don't mind. they were so good.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Lilian, don't worry about it. Go, do your thing, whatever. So I will say that there's a lot of fans that do have that respect, and so we thank you, because that is really good and appreciated. And look at that. I still, to this day, have not forgotten that.
Nope.
So it does, like I said, it goes both ways. It's just, balance. All right, really quick, because I know we were wrapping up the whole Royal Rumble talk, but I don't want to leave without talking about Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. And oh my gosh, he did it again.
And I'm so glad that when we had to talk about it, and I said, how does Brock Lesnar, someone like him, allow this to happen? And you said, because that's the kind of guy. Can you just reiterate that? Because I just really don't see how he can let this continue to happen.
Well, we're just saying that Brock is the kind of guy that he knows the big view, right? You can't. Okay, so imagine you've got Goldberg that's come back, and Brock comes in and squashes him. Now what? What happens there, right? There's nothing. Okay, so but by this happening, oh my gosh, now you really want to see a match between those two. Now you can't wait. And it happened again, so it's like, again, it's another thing that Brock goes, yes, this has to happen. We have to build, because Goldberg's just coming back again. People are going, and speak about, oh my God, the guy's in shape.
So ripped.
Like, so ripped.
So ripped, dude.
So awesome.
Do not mess with Goldberg.
Did you? And I'm sure you know this about what happened like last time when he was making the speech.
Oh, when his head was all bleeding.
His head was all bleeding. Plus, he was forgetting what he was going to say.
Yeah.
So he talked about how backstage he was pumping himself up, and he like smashed his head against something like
As he does.
Right? Yeah. Well, when he smashed his head against it, all of a sudden it started bleeding. Didn't have time to really get it all cleaned up and all of that. He has to go out there, and now he's loopy. He is loopy.
He was straight up saying like, I'm not saying what they told me to say, or something along those lines.
He's like, guys, you have no idea that I just gave myself a concussion backstage. I love the fact, though, that he shared what happened backstage leading to that, because it gives us those backstage moments, right, that you love so much.
Yeah, and when you can't speak any words and you're bleeding from the head, I mean, people are expecting an explanation.
And they were like, what the heck? I thought maybe it was his pyro or something, because the guy stands.
I thought the same thing.
Think about it, though. He stands and you wonder, first of all, you can't breathe, I'm sure, with that pyro's going on.
He does. That's why, because remember he does like the fire-breathing dragon kind of thing?
But I'm saying, I don't know. It's like, what is that moment like
yeah,
for
like
him?
by
But
the
I'm
time he gets in the ring, he's coughing and his head hurts and he can't remember. So it's like, what was the...
Yeah, so last night he was standing in the middle of that, and I'm going, God, this thing is going on for a while. That pyro's going on for a while. And now I'm seeing a little, I'm going, oh, maybe that's how he got cut, right? That's what I was thinking before I found out the real scoop.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was part of his like pre-match ritual, was to bang himself in the head. Like, Goldberg, you're a lot older now. Like,
I think you should do like the Tony Robbins method. I think Tony just like pumps his arms up, and just like maybe that's a whole lot safer.
Because slamming your head like that. You got a little
I got a little like when you hyperventilate,
a little adrenaline rush or something.
Hello. So yeah, that works. But yeah, I definitely want to see this match with Brock and Goldberg. I think it's really cool that Brock has allowed this whole.
And I feel like it plays into what we were discussing earlier with the Shades of Grey thing. Like, Goldberg and Brock, like neither of them are real heel or face.
Exactly.
Like,
that's why I say it can happen with Randy and RK, and AJ Styles. It could totally happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I was disappointed at how little they were in the match. Like, it felt like.
It's leading to that other moment. That's
which is why I didn't like go and complain a bunch about it. I would just say like only because they got a majority of the build up to the match. Like I was surprised at how little all three of them were in the match, considering like they got the bulk of the promotion and stuff. But no, they're older dudes. Like they're there for a reason. Like instead of 10 bushwhacker Lukes and stuff like that, we had like. 3 legendary dudes. We had Undertaker, Goldberg, and Brock Lesnar.
I mean, when they were announced that they were going to be at this Rumble, I was like, what? Wow. So to me, I love the Rumble. I thought it was really, really good from start to finish. So congratulations to all the superstars. Incredible job that you guys did. And I can't wait to see more. We got the Elimination Chamber. We got Fastlane.
Yes,
what else?
Elimination Chamber is going to be good.
Yes. And before we go, see, you've got a couple more news tidbits that we want to talk about, as you always do our wrestling news. So we don't want to forget that.
Let's do our Making Their Way to the Ring news. Starting off with a woman who is fearless, and she is now an executive producer. I am talking about one Nikki Bella.
Wow.
It has been announced by E! That she will be an executive producer when Total Divas returns with the second half of their 6th season on April 5th. So this is very interesting. It's not uncommon for a reality star to be one of the EPs of their show, but that initially usually happens when they've started their show as a big name, and it happens the first season. So this so far in, Nikki's getting this opportunity, and she said, I'm honored and excited. I'm focused on my journey to inspire and empower women, and she looks at this as really another step forward in being able to do that. She was grateful to WWE, E! And Buna Murray for this. So, I mean, Total Divas has been so great this season anyway.
Yeah.
And now to hear that Nikki Bella is going to be pulling some strings behind the scenes, I'm like, yes.
Well, what's interesting to what you just said is that the part about usually they're already an executive producer, so that they have a big name. You know, I think what's different about this, and they didn't make a big point of this, but if you, I watch Total Divas every week, and I know, and
I think it's cool.
Her and Brie were both listed as executive producers all season so far this year. It was the first time where both of them were executive, but I think it was one of those executive producers, like a vanity thing, where it was like, because they're the big name who helped development, they got considered that. And now, I believe, from what I heard, is that Nikki Bella is kind of like an actual boss on the show now. Like, as opposed to like a vanity. It's not Brie and Nikki who are both doing things. It's like Nikki is going to be actually doing work for the show now, which is awesome.
You know, I talked to Nikki actually way before I left, and she actually wanted this a long time ago.
Awesome.
She talked to me about this, and you know, we were talking about how is this going to fare with the rest of the girls.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm really hoping that the rest of the girls.
Was she concerned about that, or you were just asking?
You know,
if she was
I mean,
concerned?
not to the point where she didn't want to move forward with it. I mean, this is something she's very passionate about, and I think kudos to her. She went for it. She's got it. I think it's, you know, congratulations, Nikki. I think it's great. I think she was just, you know, hoping, because she's, you know, doesn't want. I mean, we all work as a team, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they all
rock the
do.
boat.
One doesn't rock the boat, but doesn't at the same time. You got to go for things, right? Eva Marie's doing a lot of things on her own
And
too.
she helped develop the show, Nikki. I mean,
Yeah, she did.
let's be honest. I
Absolutely.
mean, she pitched a show that was her and her sister to E, and then WWE pitched a show about their divas, and they were like, E was like, hey, what if we just do this together?
Exactly.
And thank God they
Exactly.
did.
Yeah. So
I think it's good, and I really hope that the rest of the girls can see that this is something good and nothing. You know, everyone's got their voice. Everyone's going to have their little thing.
And they're all still. I mean, you know, like Nikki's getting towards the end of her career too. You know, and those other girls, they have a lot more to go. They have a lot more of a wrestling
Taking
career.
back your pats on the back for that one.
What? She probably does.
No, she's got time left.
You
she
know
can
what?
be there as long as John is.
I just saying.
But John's not going to be there very much longer.
No,
Don't say
and I
that
just. The facts are the facts.
I'm sorry, Christy.
In this scenario, are they leaving to do a weekly episode of Total Bellas that never has a season but just goes 52 weeks a year?
No.
In which case, I'm fine with it.
Although I
Right
want to
now,
see like
with the Total Bellas and Total Divas, you're getting a lot of
You are.
them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think you should be happy with that.
I want to see like a
Slightly.
Reeves and Kelly kind of show with John Cena and Nikki Bella hosting it.
Oh, that would be
Morning
fun.
show on WWE Network.
So good.
I'd
That
be
would
all
be
about
fun.
it. I'd be all about it.
So
Yeah, that would be
good.
great. You never know. Now with the network, God, it's endless.
And he's doing all those morning shows and
Yes,
stuff, and
yes.
she's good with TV. Like she has TV experience. I would
Yes.
watch it.
Yeah, that
I'd
would be
watch it.
great.
And that's a perfect leeway into our next story involving John Cena. Now,
We did that on purpose. We just fed that to you. There
Right,
you go.
yes.
I'm good at helping with segues.
You're
What
working
can I
for me,
say?
babes. Well, several of the WWE Twitter accounts were hacked about an hour after NXT TakeOver. This went down on Saturday nights. Fans noticed the official NXT account, WWE Universe, and like WrestleMania and SummerSlam. They started having these weird messages that were from Our Mine, which is an online hacker group. They're also a hacker security group, and they try to protect people from such hackings. They've gone after people like the co-founders of Wikipedia, the co-founder of Twitter, Mark Zuckerberg. They've been successful, and all they do is they post a message saying, this is Our Mine Corporation. We just want to let you know you should probably check on your security. Give us a holler back. That's all they do. They don't do
It's
any
so
damage.
scary.
Yeah, I was gonna
Post
say it's
anything.
still mean to do that.
So
like-
It is,
scary,
but what's
man.
most interesting here is that this hack kind of unveiled that they said they only hacked one person, and that was the head of WWE's social media, and that person's account is linked to all the WWE Superstar accounts, Twitter and Facebook. So that's how they were able to get to
my
John Cena and several of the other accounts.
I was so worried when that happened. I was on Twitter because it was literally like right after the show, and I saw that, and being the wrestling nerd that I am, I was like, oh, who's this new character that's debuting named Armine? And I clicked on it, and then like this message thing came up, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be hacked. I'm gonna lose all my passwords and stuff. But then I was so happy to see that it was like they're not like they're just trying to like get their name out there. So
I often wondered about that. With you think about, for example, I'm not saying these companies. Well, I'm never going to mention the companies, but there's companies out there that will protect you, right, from hacking. That will protect your credit. That will protect all these things. That I wonder sometimes. For them, people that are getting hacked, and for them, all of that's good news for them because it brings business, right? It brings business for them.
Right.
So I always go, oh, God, I mean, it's so sad that companies are like, yay, I'm glad you're getting hacked because that means that we have a job that we can protect you from the hackers. And it's like this vicious circle.
It's like fire insurance. It's the same thing. Like you have to buy fire insurance.
You're
They're
like,
hoping that you get your thing gets on fire,
Oh my God. So, but it's just so crazy and so scary to know that nobody's really, no matter how good your password is, they're going to get in. They're going to get in. So that's why
I'm not trying to like taunt them, but yeah, it's a bummer. But I mean, it is the internet's a crazy place. You gotta try and protect yourself.
And you can't, and it's like protecting your house. You try to put locks, but it doesn't really matter sometimes how many locks are there. They'll get through the window.
Luckily, WWE did get a hold of the situation though. Like I know I talked to a rep for the company who basically said that like it was a quick thing, that it was handled, and that they got they got everything fixed, they got everything deleted, and they
But
were
how
able
did
to
they
move on
protect
from
themselves?
it.
I mean, how good does your password have to be now? That's the thing is how.
It's all about that two-step verification with like the phone number, and then they like send you a text, and you got to put the numbers in. It's like a whole thing.
The way people usually hack you isn't your password.
Right.
It's the security question.
Oh.
So if you say like, if your security question was like, "What's my dad's name?" and you did a whole show about your dad,
Right.
the hacker's like, Lilian Garcia's dad, and they go and then they find the answer to like those questions. And I hate to like give you a roadmap here, but like that is actually
Okay, everybody. All the roadmap is make sure your
security question is not an easy thing to find on the internet.
And make sure you choose something that you even yourself can remember.
Yep.
If you remember, like, what was your favorite book? And then all of a sudden you put it in, and you're like, well, I guess this was my favorite book, right? But months and months and months later, you go, what the hell was my favorite book?
That's why like street you grew up on is usually a safe one to pick because like no one's gonna be able to Google like the street that I grew up on, like
Yeah,
so.
that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Challenge.
I know, crap, damn it.
Challenge put out there.
That's not the
sir.
one that I use.
Well, someone else making waves in the WWE universe, if you all remember, Tough Enough contestant Mada. He was one of the favorites. He was a former bodybuilder, the guy with the mohawk. He talked a lot about his son, his family, and his wife when he was on the show. He recently announced that he has left WWE, saying, I have recently made a tough decision, and I have asked for my release. So again, he didn't get released by the company. He asked for his release, and he's saying he had to do what's best for my family and for myself, although he said it's been a great journey and he loved it. He enjoyed all of it. So he just joins many other Tough Enough 2015 contestants who have left the company, Sarah Lee, ZZ, and we of course know that our own AfterBuzz TV's Daria Baronato is still there along with Mandy Rose and Patrick. But Mada is gone, and he did make some mention on social media of big things to come for him. So
that's good.
Definitely we'll keep our eye
maybe
out and
he's
see
left.
what goes down.
Yeah,
That's he was one that confused me because as you know, WWE is all about trying to get into different international markets and stuff, and they don't really have like an Egyptian wrestler, So I thought that he was going to be one that was going to get a decent push. Same with like ZZ, as much as he might have been out of shape or whatever. It was a cool like Louisiana, like like when they go back to WrestleMania, they're going like I thought he was gonna be one that was gonna like
Well, the glaring
stay
difference
around.
there is that by all accounts, ZZ was not ready to put in the hard work.
100%.
And Mada absolutely was.
Yeah.
It's very obvious before and during Tough Enough and even after in his training at the Performance Center, he was giving it 100%.
But guys, you know what this goes down to? I think that they realize how much work goes into this and being away from home. Okay, they see some of the superstars and they talk about this schedule: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 day home, 1.5 days per week home. And he, got to that point where he's like, this is not ultimately balance for me and what makes me happy. And so I don't look down at him at all, because that's the thing. Everyone's got a different view as to what will make them happy, what they want to do in life, what is good balance for them. Everyone's got to judge their own thing. And being on the road 300 plus dates a year, I'm telling you, it's rough.
And Mata wasn't even there yet. Mata was only in the performance center.
I know, but he probably
no, I agree with you 100%. He probably realized
saw that and realized that and said, this is not what I want for my family, especially when you have a family. That's what it makes it harder. And we talked about that with Mickey James.
Yeah.
I asked her, how are you going to balance this? And she's like, don't even know yet. We haven't even, we just said we're going to work it out. We're going to figure it out. But it's a big commitment. And so I just say good luck with, to you and with your family. And I'm sure that whatever he's got next, he's probably worked something out and said, oh, this might be something really cool.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet you he gets back into bodybuilding. I think he was in that whole scene beforehand. I think I remember him and Shad.
And that doesn't require 300 plus dates a year on the road. So maybe that's
and
where
you can
he
still
looks
have
at
good,
it,
decent fame in the bodybuilding world too. So.
Right. So good luck to him.
We'll keep you posted on
All
what's
right.
going on. You won't see him on WWE TV, but you may be seeing Conor McGregor. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk about all of this. He is the UFC lightweight champion who made some disparaging marks about WWE and the Superstars not too long ago.
Slightly.
But there's been a lot of speculation that he may come around a little bit at WWE, and now he himself is confirming there have been conversations to get him to appear at WrestleMania. He says, I'd love to go to WWE and have a real knock. I've turned down some things, but the conversations are still ongoing. So you know what? That just smells of a money ploy, is all I'm saying. And he even said if the price is right, he may appear at WrestleMania, and that's going down April 2nd in Orlando. So we got to wait a little while, but it wouldn't be the first. We saw Ronda Rousey a couple years ago at WrestleMania, and I mean, people want this.
Do you think that with those comments that he made that he'd get cheered? Because everyone in wrestling fans kind of associate him as a jerk,
Yeah.
As much as we love it, as much as he's entertaining to watch.
Okay, yeah, but man, and those comments did not make the Superstars happy at all. And then if he all of a sudden shows up at Mania,
Of all places. Taking a payday from all the guys that he crapped on.
Ouch. I mean, seriously, let me tell you, if he comes into the WWE, I think he's going to see that this is not a wonderland of, we're just doing fake wrestling, okay? Superstars take this job very serious, as they should. It is a very serious job. They do put their bodies on the line. Yes, it's a little different than UFC, but different in the sense that, it's not as scripted, okay? But they still put their bodies on the line. They still travel more than the UFC. And
Way more.
Way more.
Way more. It's not even comparable.
Way more matches.
Yeah.
Way more matches, okay? So I think before Conor makes comments like he did, I would love to see him, put it this way. I would love to see him live the life of a superstar and the schedule and all the matches and everything, right?
That's a reality show waiting to happen.
And then make it. But now, do I really want to see him really do that and take the spot of some of these other guys? I don't know. It's up to the other guys to even say whether they would allow this or not.
I personally don't, just because, with Ronda, she has such a massive respect for wrestling. I mean, she was clearly a fan. She posted pictures. She was training even to wrestle. She was posting videos and stuff.
So different.
It's so different. She had done the appearance at SummerSlam, or her friends or whatever. So to me, it's not even comparable. I mean, the disrespect that Conor showed for WWE, regardless if it was him trying to sell more pay-per-views, was still a slap in the face to a lot of wrestling fans. Because, look, as much as we know that wrestling is a worked thing, it's still... you don't like to have that jerk who's in your face telling you it's fake. It's like that guy who's like, the magician's trick is not real. It's like, we know, dude. Like, we enjoy it, And Conor is like that bully who is like... just crapping on wrestling, and if he comes in and they pay him millions of dollars, he's not gonna get beaten up by one of the wrestlers. Like, he's this undefeated fighter. He's gonna come in and he's gonna beat up one of the guys that he disrespected, and that I don't really have any interest in seeing that personally.
There's also an idea that, I think the WWE superstars have to hold a certain standard of themselves when they're out in public and things that they don't say on Twitter, regardless of if they want to or not. Where maybe coming from that aspect, even if it's just a one-off appearance, I'm not so sure that he could not afford them some bad publicity. Even if
God,
he
I
tried.
would. If he's backstage, I'm telling you, oh my goodness.
You think someone will try and find him?
Superstars. No, but I mean,
juicy
they're
news
not going to
story
make
in
it
the
easy.
making.
And it's like, whoa, jeez. I can imagine I wouldn't want to be him. I seriously would not want to be him.
Like, I know Alberto Del Rio's not in WWE anymore, but I feel like if like a guy like Alberto Del Rio was near Conor McGregor, like there would be a fight, you
He would
know?
go down. He
Yeah.
would be one, yeah. Well, anyway.
Well, that is your Making Their Way to the Ring news. I'm Christy Olson, the managing editor and chief correspondent of AfterBuzz TV's Pro Wrestling News Division. And, now
And
back
where
to
do we find
Lillian.
you on social media?
And you guys can always reach out to me at Christy Reports, especially if you've got some news scoop.
Yeah. And you? Where
And you can
we
find
you?
me at Ryan Satin on Twitter and my website at Wrestling Sheet on all social media.
All right. We're wrapping this thing up. I mean, this has been an amazing show, actually. It's
So
been
much fun.
Yeah, great.
It's been fun to do this show. You can find me at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and also on Twitter, and Lilian Garcia official fan page on Facebook. Don't forget, on iTunes, make sure that you subscribe to us on iTunes. Make sure that you write those comments, right, Ryan?
Told you, yeah.
Write those comments. Nice comments. Nice, please.
Happy ones.
And then on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV, make sure that you also write comments, join the chat, give us 5 stars. 5
Please.
stars, thumbs up, all the good stuff, plees. Yeah, we don't
A
like
wave,
this.
a peace sign,
Yeah.
like a fist bump, whatever you gotta
Any one
do.
of those ones.
Any of those. Just not the thumbs down, please. We work so hard. And actually, want to thank you guys. Really, spread the word about the show. We're getting great ratings. We're getting great press everywhere. Working really hard to just bring you real, raw, and inspiring stories. And I think that we did that, like you said, Christy, here on the Royal Rumble. All right, so next week, join us again for Making Their Way to the Ring. From all of us. Ciao. What is that? Peace, love, and much, much passion. All right. Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Phil Svitek, Kevin Undergaro, Lilian Garcia, Mark Donica, associate producer James Frank, AfterBuzz Wrestling News correspondent Christy Olson, and the entire Making Their Way to the Ring staff. We would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. Follow Lilian on Twitter and Instagram at Lilian Garcia. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz you later.